Hello and welcome to the PeePcast. I'm Jared Hurdle, and with me today I have some very special guests from the Family Jam with Dan and Sam. Dan and Sam.
Hello.
So, how's it going?
That was unanimous. It was
It was pretty
we're
good.
too in sync, man. We do
You
too
guys
much
have become
together.
one voice. Yeah, I mean, you guys are like one person almost at this point.
Yeah, one
Jesus.
voice, one nation, together, forever,
That's right.
in the void.
Hashtag me too.
So I guess I'll start by sort of explaining who you guys are
Yeah,
and,
sure.
and why I have you on the show. I met you guys when I went to film school. I feel like that started like a year and a half ago now.
Yeah, it was mid 2016, 17.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
sounds right. Yeah. And hit it off with you boys.
Yeah,
Yeah.
And
started
Yeah.
making
and,
content.
and then we did a podcast that failed miserably.
yeah,
We
funny
sure
at
did.
the time.
and it
Yeah.
was funny at the time.
I have to say that it has its charm. It's not a complete failure.
I mean, it was a great name because it definitely describes what it was perfectly.
Yeah.
It was funny at the time.
Totally.
That's it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
but I wouldn't
but-
say it was a complete failure though.
No.
It failed in the sense that we didn't get it out there.
Yeah. Well, that's
Well,
that's,
episode 1 came out,
Yeah,
That's
episode
true, that's
1,
true.
which is
and I think one person listened to it.
I think, and it was arguably the worst episode.
Yeah, probably.
Oh, yeah, I would say so. That
Yeah.
first one, yeah.
We
Yeah.
like instantly started off with like the worst like conversation topics.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was great. So now here we are starting again,
Yeah.
essentially.
Yep.
Yeah, we'll see how much we've grown.
Yeah,
Yeah.
totally. So what have you been up to, man?
Yeah, I've been up to a bunch. I went to Melbourne for my friend's 21st.
Oh yeah, how was that?
That was great. I love Melbourne.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's cool.
Had a very good time.
Have you been there before?
Yeah, I went there once as a kid.
Okay.
Yeah, but it was much better going there
As an adult.
as an
yeah.
adult and going out and stuff.
Yeah, it's how it's so much nicer here.
Oh, absolutely. And we went and played golf,
Oh yeah.
and that's become one of my favorite things to do is go and play golf.
Really?
Yeah, but actually, it's all about the golf carts, right?
Yeah, sure.
Oh,
sure.
that's the funnest
Yeah,
part of
yeah.
it.
Yeah,
right?
man. Because the grass is kind of wet because they have all the sprinklers and everything.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And you just go top speed and just lock the wheel and slam the brakes and just see how much you can skid around.
Yeah, yeah.
So you didn't get
Yeah.
kicked off any golf courses?
No, not at all.
Oh,
We
wow.
were quite fortunate that no one caught us in the act.
Yeah,
Oh,
right.
that's
Yeah.
cool.
So how long have you been doing this thing?
Oh, this is episode 6 of the Peepcast.
Nice,
so,
nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, bruh.
And we're on the air live as well.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay,
Yeah.
cool.
Hello there. I'm Sam.
Yep.
I'm Dan.
Samuel
Yep.
Reis and Daniel Gaughan.
Yeah, yeah.
Put the last name.
My Instagram is @thatmovieguy. Hit me up, ladies.
So you're
all
still on
one
the
word.
search.
I'm still in the search for love. I mean, I've lost my virginity since funny at the time,
That's
but
good. That's good.
but
That's
I'm on the
progress.
search for love. I'm
Yeah.
on the. I mean, Katoomba. I don't know about Katoomba, but you know, it's so far away, man. Like,
Yeah.
we got caught in traffic and like.
Yeah, and the GPS took me like through friggin' Campbelltown and then like back like a kilometer down the M4 and made me go around.
So did you
through
use
Penrith.
Google Maps?
I did, yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah, I did.
Rumble in the jungle.
Yeah, I did, yeah. I used Google Maps and it was
Yeah.
still trash.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know why. I think I might have taken a wrong turn somewhere, but
Yeah.
Yeah,
Anyway.
probably.
yeah.
I'd say so.
Yeah. Most likely.
Yes. What's been going on with you guys?
We've been working on a few things. We finished Enter the Spaghetti,
Yeah.
Okay.
which you've seen, right?
Yeah, I saw it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's
so
good.
We
It's fucking awesome.
yeah, and we finished that. We're working on the sequel, but we're not really gonna spare any more details about
Okay.
it.
So
other
you're
than that.
just writing the sequel.
We wrote the sequel.
So where can people see Enter the Spaghetti?
Well, once it's out in film festivals, so we're planning to try and go the film festival route, and
Yeah.
after that's over, you know, go into more of the online streaming thing.
Yeah, that sounds like the way to go. Because
Yeah.
the festivals always kind of want that exclusivity.
That's it.
Yeah,
man.
I think so.
Yeah.
Although, like, I'm not like I think it varies from festival to festival.
Yeah.
But yeah, we're in the midst of researching a whole bunch of festivals to go to.
Yeah, because that's the hardest part about becoming a filmmaker is trying to
With distribution is always the hardest,
hardest
part.
part,
of
yeah,
everything, yeah.
getting people to see it, you
Yeah.
know, and
Totally.
That's it. That's it.
yeah.
I mean, you can like doing the thing is hard, but then
getting
have
the
it.
thing out there is a whole
Yeah,
other
Yeah,
game.
yeah.
it's definitely
But-
it's a whole career, like different career path.
I have to
be honest.
say, Jared, you're doing a pretty good job as far as like marketing. You're using all the
thank you.
hashtags.
That's
You're
it,
posting
yeah.
every day. Your
Yeah.
your Facebook and Instagram, or
Right.
mainly your Instagram, is like
Okay.
fairly active.
I
Yeah, for
catch
sure.
a lot of flack for my Instagram. I don't know what
Really?
you guys
Really?
think of it. Yeah, I get a lot of like,
From
oh, it's
who?
not funny, man. It's really cringy. Like,
Like who?
everyone.
Really?
Literally everyone.
I think it's a very niche brand of comedy that
Yeah.
you're providing.
I would agree, and I think it sort of the initial reaction is just, oh, that's cringy.
And I have to say that there are a few things that made me cringe, but
Yeah.
overall, I think some of the most absurd stuff,
Mm-hmm.
because your stuff is batshit insane, man.
Yeah, that's
like,
fair. Yeah.
Like it's
Yeah.
just like you in the toilet going like, "Hello, I'm Mr. Poops," and you've got like
And
a
then it's just
Jordan.
like, bloop, and you like
yeah, and you've got like a Jordan Peterson face or something.
Yeah.
yeah.
It's hilarious.
Like, what kind of direction are you thinking of taking all this kind of stuff?
Well, I like the radio show. I like the YouTube channel. I definitely want to do more stuff like Midnight Runs with you guys.
Yeah.
That is probably the highlight of my entire career.
Midnight Runs. Oh boy.
Jesus Christ!
Let's
Midnight
talk about
Runs, man.
Midnight Runs.
Absolutely,
So,
yeah.
like, how'd you find the production of Midnight Runs? Like,
Oh, just so much fun.
Yeah.
I've really discovered that I have more fun being on the other side of the camera.
yeah,
Right,
yeah.
yeah.
So I've set up my like Star Now profile and backstage and stuff
Ah,
like
nice.
that.
So you want to
Nice.
get into more acting?
Yeah,
type
absolutely.
Stuff.
Yeah.
I think you could be if you play your cards right. You could be Australia's answer to Jim Carrey. I think.
Yeah, that's
Like,
my dream.
That's
Or
actually
Justin
not too-
Roiland. Yeah.
I
totally.
really think that. Like, you look
Legend.
at Giuseppolo in Midnight Runs, and it's literally Ace Ventura, but more retarded.
I'll take that. Thank you.
It's crazy, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, like, isn't there like, you should do stand-up comedy. That's what I was gonna say.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd love
For
to.
sure.
Yeah.
Like impressions. I think you'll be really good at impressions
Yeah, man.
and shit like that.
Like Dean recently, Dean's our mate from film school.
And he was on the
for
last
anyone.
episode of the Family Jam.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah.
Did you listen to that one?
Yeah, so I caught some of it.
Okay.
Yeah, see, my main issue is that you guys aren't releasing it as a podcast or on YouTube.
Oh, we
or
are.
anything.
We've
releasing
released
in
2
the future.
episodes now.
Okay,
Yeah,
yeah.
as a podcast.
On
yeah.
what service?
SoundCloud.
SoundCloud.
Right? Yeah.
SoundCloud. Yeah, you guys will
Seems-
find that SoundCloud is probably one of the worst options.
Really?
Yeah.
But we should talk about that.
All right.
Okay.
later,
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, so Dean was on Tuesday,
Mm.
and yeah, he did did you hear his stand-up story
No,
about
I
him
missed
doing
that.
in London?
Okay.
So like apparently in that comedy club had like this system where everyone gets like these 2 cards,
Okay.
right? And then you get 2 minutes, everyone, and you sign up, and you get 2 minutes each. And if after the 2 minutes, there's a bell that rings,
Mm.
and then after that, you can put up like one of the cards, and one of them's like,
Oh, yay or
get
nay.
the fuck off or stay on.
That's
and
awesome.
Then so he went up and he was like, Dean's a pretty funny guy, like
Yeah.
he's
Yeah.
a joker and like that kind of thing. He's quite bright, but and he had all this material and it just completely bombed super hard.
I'm pretty sure that just happens to everyone their first time, though.
Yeah.
Like,
Like-
you should expect a bomb.
It depends, man. Like I've heard a few comedians, like definitely like a few comedians, like most comedians have that experience of just bombing straight away. But like I think there was what's that that Indian dude, the Indian Australian guy, Neil something or other.
Neil, I've never heard of him.
I can't pronounce his name. I
You
just,
know
I
who
don't
I'm
think
talking about, bro,
but I know
right?
who you're talking about.
It's like Neil Karongra or something like that.
Okay, I believe you.
Anyway, he was like I don't know. It starts with a K.
yeah.
Right. And he was on Dave Rubin, and Dave Rubin's a comedian as well. And
I didn't even know that.
Yeah.
Right.
A lot of these like interviewers have done stand-up comedy before, because like
That
I think
makes
it makes
sense.
you more confident just talking to people and interviewing people and
Yeah,
that kind
totally.
of thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, he was like, oh yeah, like my first stand-up gig I just killed, and then he bombed after his first like kill.
Yeah,
gig.
because he got the confidence.
Yeah,
and
yeah,
then
that's
bombed.
it. Yeah. And
Which
then,
I
like,
think is probably worse of an experience.
there's this other guy called Hung Lee, who's he was in Wog Boy. Have you ever seen that movie?
Wogboy.
I think I saw
It's an
Oh.
Australian movie.
Yeah, it's like a sort of like a gang type
Yeah,
thing,
and he plays
right?
the Chinese kid in it.
Right, yeah.
Anyway, he's a stand-up comic, and he did like his first ever gig was just him doing violin comedy because he was a violinist, and
Yeah.
he killed. And then like from there on, just became a stand-up comic.
Yeah, you gotta just find your niche. You gotta find the thing that, like the gimmick that you're really
Well,
good
like,
at.
Yeah, you got to find something that's relatable to people, right? And
Yeah.
then
Yeah.
and then and then you have to subvert their expectations on it. More
Yeah.
or
That's a
less, right?
definite criticism I've received.
Yeah.
Like I had this guy come up to me at the pub
And you
be
just
like,
beat your face in.
metaphorically.
Yeah.
he was like, oh yeah, man, I was seeing your Instagram videos, and I was like, oh, this sounds positive. And then he was like, yeah, I just think they're really cringy and not funny.
Wait, he went up to you in person and said that?
Yeah.
But that guy had balls.
Wow.
And I was humble, and I
Yeah.
was like, oh, thank you so much for just being honest with me. Like, I really just appreciate the
Yeah.
honesty. And I can't even remember why I brought it up. What were you just saying?
Like about bombing on stage and that.
Yeah.
So I
On
was talking about
stage.
Dean.
By the way, if you want to hear more Dean stories, please hit our SoundCloud at soundcloud.com/thefamilyjam.
Oh yeah, his criticism was that it wasn't relatable at all. Like I was
Yeah.
like,
Yeah,
so
yeah.
what comedy do you like? And I just wanted him to sort of list what he was into, and he was just like, oh, I just like relatable stuff, man.
Yeah,
this stuff's not relatable.
I
at
think
all.
most comedy that sells is like that really relatable stuff. But I think what you could try and experiment with is try and do that relatable thing, but subvert it completely.
Yeah, I think that's the way to go. Like,
Yeah.
like with anything, you have to start in a
'Cause
realm of
gotta,
understandable.
You gotta
stuff.
bait them in, right? Like, I remember there was one exercise you had to do at film school where it was directing coverage performance, right?
Yeah.
And then we always get given the shittiest scripts, right? And
Yes.
Totally, yeah.
I think that's mostly why we were always so unenthusiastic about doing them, right?
Yeah, yeah.
'Cause It's
Yeah.
like have you got the money? It's like
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
have you got the keys?
Oh, it's
yeah.
like
the girls in the back.
like a chili, like a chili. Pop.
Yeah, like
Oh,
that
I'll
shit,
never
right?
forget
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
That was
Bang,
some
Bang. Yeah. Oh,
I felt
God.
sorry for the actors who had to fucking perform that
Yeah,
shit.
yeah.
But so yeah, like I tried to make it into a comedy and like all that kind of thing. And then one of the criticisms I got from the teacher was like, oh, we didn't know, like the first 30 seconds of it is like all serious and like gangster shots and like it's pan up from his shoes
Yeah,
onwards,
yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And like then it was all like this, like played it serious, and then it just like went into Sam, like, because Sam was playing the guy,
Yeah.
and then Sam was like climbing out the window and like trying to like
Sam can't help but be hilarious.
yeah.
though.
Like Sam's a hilarious guy.
Yeah.
But then it shifted, right? And then he was like, we didn't know it was a comedy, so I didn't know that I was supposed to laugh, right?
Yeah.
And it sounds kind of like it sounds kind of like you're manipulating them, but that's kind of what that's kind of what media is, right?
That's
Yeah.
what storytelling is.
Exactly.
You
All-
want to
all
get
art.
people hooked.
Exactly.
All art
yeah.
is manipulation. Like you choose specific camera shots and
Yeah.
specific pieces of dialogue
And
to
definitely
To
music.
invoke
and
certain
music.
emotions, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
So like, yeah, I would say like, because you're on the cultural pulse, right? With
Yeah.
like,
I'd like to think so.
yeah, most people are, right? You have a selection of YouTube channels that you follow, and that kind
Yeah.
of keeps you up to date. It's more or less what people used to do with the news, right? But you just got to take those, because there's an audience there. There's hundreds of thousands of people watching those, like millions of people watching them. So like, take stuff from that. Like for example, Jordan Peterson, like same thing that Friendly Jordies did, right? Like he does the Koshy stuff and and the Jordan
Yeah.
Peterson stuff,
Yeah.
and then he like he plays on the caricatures and their and like the, I guess, the motifs and patterns that they come up with.
Yeah,
You know what I
but
mean?
it's not just a shallow impersonation either. He actually brings home like a point with his impersonations as well. Like,
Yeah, definitely.
that-
I mean,
that-
with Friendly Joyce, most of his points like, look how stupid everyone is.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
like what he's doing most of the time.
yeah, but he conveys it pretty well.
Oh yeah, definitely. Like he's hilarious.
Yeah,
Yeah,
But-
comedically and poignantly. At the
Yeah,
same
yeah,
time.
yeah.
But he's much more of a political commentator than a comedian, I would say. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's a bit of both, but
Yeah.
Yeah. The have you checked out his podcast? The Friendly
Yeah,
Jordan
I
podcast?
listened to quite a lot of it.
Yeah.
it's quite good.
It's really
yeah,
good.
I was super into it for a while, but then what I've done is I've actually just gone back and started re-listening to GVP.
Yeah,
Justin
yeah,
Roiland's
yeah.
podcast.
Like GVP is the benchmark for
it's the
comedy
best
podcasts.
It's the best podcast I've ever heard in my life.
I think so too. And
In terms of comedy and entertainment, like
Yeah.
definitely.
Yeah, I think like because there are better podcasts in general, but GVP is like, as I said before, the benchmark of comedy because you've got the perfect personalities.
Yeah.
Like Jackie, Justin, and
Ryan.
Ryan.
Yeah.
Like Justin is he constantly berates and
he's really impatient.
Yeah, he's impatient.
Which helps the show to just
exactly.
Yeah.
And Ryan Ridley's like this patient, like he's a writer type, and he's like he likes to plan things. He's the straight man, right?
Yeah.
And Jackie's like the sarcastic like bitch.
Yeah. Like, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's perfect. It's the perfect combination.
It's a really good combination.
And it really shows what a great chemistry on a podcast can really do. You know?
Yeah, just like our amazing chemistry right now.
Definitely.
I'm actually feeling it. You know?
Yeah, me too.
We definitely had like some kind of chemistry, like for sure.
This makes me kind of like nostalgic for Funny at the Time.
Right.
those are good times.
Well, I think the other episodes are good, and I don't know. I've been struggling to find episode 2, and I have this one. I'm like, I don't know if it's episode 2 or episode 3.
Yeah.
And
Well, folks, we might see a Funny at the Time revival in 2020.
We'll call it like the Family Peep with Jared.
There's
Sam and
so
Dan.
many brands happening right now.
Yeah, Funny at the Time.
Got 3
Funny at the Family Peep
Yeah.
Jam. That's what it's going to be.
That's it. Have you been following like the whole pill testing thing?
A little bit. I watched
Yeah?
the Friendly Jordy's video on
Okay,
pill
that's
testing,
pretty
yeah.
much. Is that pretty much the extent of it?
Yeah, I found it really interesting that he was talking about how just MDMA itself can just kill you. I didn't know that.
Well, it's actually it's a lot that can kill you.
Yeah.
Like you have to do like a whole gram of it, which is a lot. Like.
Yeah.
Well, Jordan Shanks wasn't very clear about that. He just
No,
made it
'cause,
sound like
like,
MDMA
most
will
people
kill
don't
you.
understand the neurochemistry of it, right?
Yeah.
Like
Right.
I researched it just because I was curious about it,
Hmm.
and like, yeah, like definitely, because the thing is that people. Like the argument I've seen to counter the whole pill testing argument is like, oh yeah, but then when people know the pills are safe, they're just gonna take 10 of them.
Yeah,
It's like,
that's not the case
like,
unless you're really stupid.
who the hell's gonna take 10 Xanaxes? Right?
Apparently, what happens is they go to a professional person that tells them what's in the pill and talks to them about MDMA, and a lot of people like just decide not to take it because they've talked to a medical professional. So I think it's going to have the opposite effect. People aren't going to start munching them like flicking cereal.
But there's gonna be people that do it anyway, right? Like I remember I was at, my mate was at a festival, right? And this guy, one of his good chef mates, like was like, "Hey man, do you want a cap?" And he had like 8 caps in his hand, and then he was like, "Nah, I'm good, man." He just went and just ate all 8 of them in one go, and then he was just like, he was fine, but like it's not good for your brain, right?
Of course,
So like. They use MDMA in to treat depression for war veterans, right?
Yeah.
And it's there's slight evidence to suggest that extended use and overuse, right, will lead to the receptors that receive serotonin burning out a little bit. So your natural reception to serotonin is going to be a bit lower.
So you'll end up becoming more depressed.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, but it's actually not, it's negligible for people who've only done it once or like they say under 50 times.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah. So if you like don't take ridiculous amounts of drugs.
Exactly.
Okay.
Like,
yeah, I'm surprised Friendly Jordy's didn't like touch on the
because he doesn't know about it. He didn't research it. Like,
Yeah.
yeah. That's just something I know. Like, it's funny because not many people know about any drugs, right?
Yeah, yeah.
They just kind of hear, they watch Scarface and they think they know what cocaine is.
Yeah,
like.
yeah. They're just in it for the thrill of the chase, right? To do those things like MD, cocaine, all those kinds of things.
A lot of it is like so much of it is the stigma towards it, right?
Yeah.
You want to do it's when you're a teenager, you want to do things that your parents
Dangerous
tell you not
things,
to do,
right?
Like
allowed to
directly, right?
It's the forbidden fruit.
Yeah, and it's why like the stigma around having sex before marriage is like pretty much gone in Western culture, right?
Yeah.
But and then as a response, kids are actually having less sex.
Yeah,
than,
I've heard that.
Yeah, than like my generation or the generation before that.
Yeah.
Which is really fascinating and probably a bad thing.
I think it's mostly because of anxiety.
Probably. I'd say we're
Anxiety.
more anxious and more like Instagram and Facebook
Because it's
focused.
like I don't know. It's like you don't know what to say or what to do.
Well, that's because you're not interacting with the actual people. You're interacting with the screen, right?
Yeah.
So you got 4 degrees of separation between you and the person that you're talking to to, right? At any one given time.
Yeah.
With us, right now it's 1-to-1.
Yeah.
Right. So you have all these like layers of eye movements and little things that little
All
mannerisms.
the non-verbal communication.
Exactly.
Yeah. Added to that, the anxiety of actually like figuring out what you can and cannot say.
Yeah.
And what you can and cannot do.
Yeah.
You
Well,
know?
it's like the whole virtue signaling culture thing as well, because if you're in that culture, then you're just like, you know, oh,
So
you
limited
can't
to
say
what you
this
can
because
say.
it's problematic or blah, 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 this and
Totally.
that, right?
Yeah,
And
but
you're-
I think it depends on the person. It depends on the individual, because like you don't want to just like berate someone who is terribly anxious or depressed, you know.
I do actually.
You do it to me.
Yeah, that's right.
Well, yeah, there's obviously the limit, but
Yeah.
the limit is in each individual interaction.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
You find everyone has a different line, right? And you have to find that's what having a conversation is. You're finding the line that you can cross and not cross, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
Totally.
otherwise, no one would have sex,
Yeah, yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Because that's you're deliberately crossing that line, right? To have sex with another person, right? And
Yeah.
you have to at one point you're gonna go like, oh, there's the line, and then they go,
Yeah.
is that okay? And then you go, yeah, sure, you know,
Yeah.
verbally or non-verbally.
Personally, I like to be virtually signaled. Virtually
Virtual
signaled.
signals?
I like to be virtually signaled.
And what does that mean?
Ladies, if you're listening, Sammy boy over here, his personal kink is to be virtually signaled.
I'm a hectic beta cuck.
It's not just a beta male; it's a beta cuck,
Yeah,
which is
it.
like
Next level.
It's too.
It's, you know, it's another letter on the alphabet.
yeah, yeah.
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 Alrighty.
Oh, it's getting hot here.
Because I normally meet with my guests like an hour before the show,
right.
and
Yeah,
we
yeah.
write out sort of topics and stuff.
Ah,
But
okay.
these slack old boys thought the show was at 8 o'clock.
There's literally a message on Sam's phone that says 8 o'clock.
No, it ends at 8 o'clock.
It's at,
6
well,
to 8.
yeah, but I think like we would have been late anyway because I came
Yeah, that's true.
came home late at
Yeah.
about 4 o'clock.
Yeah.
I came home because I literally took the train at 3 o'clock, hoping
Yeah.
to get there at like 3:30 or 3:45 at
Yeah,
the
we
very
live in
least.
Greenock now, so.
I know, right? But traffic, man, and the buses have little air conditioning, like hardly any.
But that doesn't make you later.
The air conditioning does, because you know what would happen? It does.
I had to get off the bus for a bit.
No,
till
because
the next
Yeah, it
one.
was so hot.
Yeah.
No, I had to take a train, had to take a bus, and the bus driver could have had a stroke. I mean, he looked like he could have had a stroke because there were a billion kids in
Was
the
he a
bus.
fat, gross
He was
dude?
a fat, gross.
Was he actually?
Yeah, and he was yelling at
Jeez.
all of the kids to get in the back of the bus. Get in the back of the bus. It was literally having a stroke as he was saying that.
Oh, man.
Jesus.
Sounds like you got a new character. You're a
Yeah,
bus driver character.
the fat gross bus driver. I mean, I'm very proud to have just created that character.
It's got a catchphrase and everything.
Yeah.
So are you working these days?
Yeah, so I've been landscaping for like a while now, but
Okay.
I'm definitely not getting enough work with that, and just sort of been on a break because the guy I've been doing it for has been in Japan actually.
Okay.
So yeah, that was that, and hopefully there'll be more of that.
When are you moving to Sydney?
Yeah,
When is
come
this
back,
happening?
bro.
I'd like to. I'm also thinking Melbourne
Melbourne. Yeah,
because
dude,
you
Melbourne
can
is
actually
great.
stay out in Melbourne.
Well,
Yeah.
Zane
Have a
and I have been
life.
thinking about Melbourne as well.
Well, I got a
Sounds
mate
good.
who is in the military, and he's offered me because he gets half his rent paid by the military just default.
That's
So
pretty cool.
he's like, "Come live with me, and then the rent's half,
Yeah.
and we'll just split that half."
That
So
sounds
I'm,
good.
I'm like looking to move over there and then like have like $100 rent in
Oh,
Melbourne City.
baby.
Yeah, in a
Yeah.
good
That's
place.
cheaper than
right?
what I'm paying in Katoomba
Yeah.
for
Yeah.
a converted garage.
Right.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
So crazy.
Yeah, so Melbourne's definitely on the cards, man, for sure.
Yeah.
It's better than Sydney.
And it's got a
Yeah,
better art
definitely.
scene as well, from what I've
it
heard.
has
I mean,
a better everything.
You guys have not been so like the lockout laws was like 2013, right? And
Something
you guys
like that.
would have been like 15, 16 around then time,
14.
yeah,
right?
I wasn't around to see the glory days.
Yeah,
of
no. So
Sydney.
like that's the thing. Like
I wasn't even in
Sydney
Sydney.
used to be a great city.
I'm sure. Yeah.
But
A city of coward punches.
coward punch.
you
200
leave the house and get knocked out.
Yeah, 260 venues, man, closed,
Mm.
and like it was like 180 opened up. So like a net loss of about 80 venues,
Yeah.
Mm.
which is just ridiculous, right?
Yeah.
Like,
Totally.
And it sucks because I came to Sydney because I didn't live in Sydney before the lockout laws. It sucks that I came to Sydney as they were in effect, right?
Yeah.
So I never really got to experience the Sydney
But
nightlife.
you definitely would have been too young
But see,
anyway.
the thing is too, right? Like, it's funny because if this happened in the States, it would have been another like prohibition thing, right? Like
Yeah.
like with Chicago, where there would have been all these speakeasies and stuff like that. There's nothing like that. I mean, the only equivalent is a house party, right? That's
Yeah,
like
yeah.
that's the only place where you can actually do crazy shit.
That's
and
the
get
only
away with it.
escape.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
Everything else, like, because no one's willing to, like, I don't know, maybe I haven't heard of it because, like, I'm not in the right circles, but
Yeah.
there's no, like, underground places that are just breaking the law because, you know, fuck Gladys.
Yeah, yeah.
Gladys.
Yeah,
Who's Gladys?
The Premier of New South Wales. The one, you remember the Friendly Geordies video?
There's a few of those.
the one we were talking about earlier about the pill testing thing.
Okay.
oh,
she's
that's
the one
that's the
talking
Premier,
about
yeah,
pill
yeah.
that
testing, right?
witch-looking
Yeah.
lady.
Oofed.
Yeah. She looks like she just came straight off the set of I was gonna say
Passion
Yellow
of the
Brick
Christ.
Road. The Wizard of Oz, yeah.
From 1939 to 2019,
Yeah, yeah.
Gladius has been has been working on the Yellow Brick Road from 1939 to 2019. And all that time, she has been waiting for her chance to take the pill test. I don't know.
That was a
there you
nice
go.
trip to go down.
was good, that was
There
good,
you go.
that was
I think it didn't start well. It didn't end well. It's like a bad trip, you know. That's why we need pill testing.
Yeah, full circle.
That's the moral of the story here. So what's going on in Katoomba?
Oh man, not much. Yeah.
Oh, that answers that.
I mean, there's a bit of a music scene, and we have local music. That's probably the main thing that actually happens up here. Yeah.
Cool.
There was some pretty rough live music on Australia Day, though.
Oh yeah.
At the station bar is kind of like the place to go to. Yeah, and I don't want to sort of just put crap on these performers, but I was just surprised that the venue actually had them because they had a karaoke machine, and then they were just like really average singers.
I mean, I think Dan and I could do better music. Like,
Well, I'm a musician, so
Yeah. Dan definitely.
or even on an improv song.
improv song.
Take it away, Dan.
But actually, Sam, you sang that night. That night that I freestyled at
Yeah.
that club.
Yeah.
You sang, and you weren't bad.
I was pretty shit. Come on.
Oh, maybe I was just smashed, but I remember
I
being
think
like,
I
oh
think you were
man,
pretty smashed.
Sam sounds like a little black dude.
you had beer ears, man.
Beer
Yeah, yeah.
ears.
I'm on the road.
But you should.
Okay, yep.
I'm getting drunk.
Ooh,
Oh, come on. This was the start of a
baby.
hit.
I don't
Yeah.
like. I have my what do you call it? Reservations about doing a beatboxing thing on the radio.
Why is that?
I don't like because I feel like anyone listening would just be like, why don't you just play a song?
Yeah.
Oh, because anyone can just play a
Well,
song.
but the song doesn't exist because we're just making it right now,
That's right. This is
Right,
the
right.
real stuff. This is the edgy
This is-
creativity. This is
Yeah,
where the
this is-
magic happens.
This is how Queen started.
Yeah, this is the peak of fuck Bohemian Rhapsody. This is the PeePcast. They'll make a
This is
movie
the
about
PeePcast.
this, directed by Brian Singer,
Oh man.
the fucking pedophile.
Whoa.
Literally. Oh, it's good.
Is it hot in here?
You just Sam. There's the line. You just leaped over.
That's
it,
the
right?
second time I mentioned Brian Singer as a pedophile on air
Okay.
When's the last
on
time?
the Family Jam.
Right.
Yeah, beeper.
Do you take
Oh yeah,
breaks?
just check the cam. No breaks.
No breaks.
No breaks.
No
On
breaks.
the train.
So it's like a
on the
sweatshop.
PeePcast train.
It's like
It is a
it-
sweat.
So you gotta do the
sweatshop.
camera though. Then.
Yeah. So do you want to just Sam?
All right.
Get out of here,
Just-
Sam.
It'll probably still be on, and you just need to hit start
Record. Well, this is a break.
or like stop start. It's not a break, Daniel. I'm looking at you and talking to you right now.
I would call this a break.
Don't pretend this is a break. Because the audio continues in the YouTube video with a
Oh,
nice
right,
little
right.
card, with a nice little Photoshop of the three of us. Actually,
okay.
for the sake of this Photoshop, could we all just look at the camera with a nice smile? Yeah. Hectic.
Nice. I had a proposition for you, actually.
A proposition?
Yeah, and we
Uh-oh.
might as well do it now, because why not?
Sure.
My mate is a dungeon master, right?
Oh.
And he's like looking to... He's doing two things, right?
Do
He's
D&D in Katoomba, and he needs a house to do it at.
The ultimate game, the game of games, D&D Katoomba.
I love
D&D
D&D.
We'll have to hire a shuttle
stakes
bus.
so low that they're high. And they're not the only thing that's high.
Oh, damn.
What are
know
you
what I mean.
implying?
No,
Do you wear your pants high up?
yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
My
Cool.
underpants, I wear them up to my nipples.
Okay, so you've got a camel toe.
But anyway.
Or is it a moose knuckle?
Yeah.
Oh, mate, I don't know. I don't want to assume your gender.
Yeah.
It's both.
I have a
friend.
giant schlong.
It's a moose
Still,
knuckle.
I still wouldn't assume your gender based on your genitalia.
It's a moose knuckle and a camel toe all at the same time.
A camel toe.
A
I like
camel
the
toe.
camel
It's a
toe.
camel knuckle.
They call it the caramel knuckle.
So anyway, what was your
So
proposition?
yeah. But he wants to do these D&D sessions, right?
Yeah.
And then similar to like Harmon Quest, like animate them, animate the interesting
okay.
sections of
So
them. Like,
you
in,
want
like,
me to
2 minute
animate
video.
it?
Well, I was gonna say like because he's looking for an animator.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, do you want to do like an animation demo of just anything that you like to show
Sure.
off your skills, and then I'll send
Yeah.
it to him, and then he'll.
Okay, can I be in the D&D?
Yeah,
Okay.
totally. Yeah.
Hectic.
Yeah.
That sounds, promising.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I've never played D&D, so it's going to be an experience for me.
Speaking
it's
of
pretty fun.
animation, did you guys see the end of the Big Les show, the final
No,
episode?
I haven't
No.
seen it.
It's legit, dude.
Yeah?
It was,
Wow.
a real journey.
I never saw. I watched the first episode of the third season. Right, it was the third or fourth season, or the latest one.
Right.
And I was like, it's the same kind of vibe. And then I was like,
Well, yeah, the show is kind of this one-note show, right?
Yeah,
But
yeah.
it still escalates.
That's
like
true,
this last episode's just
like the
intense.
movie that they did.
Tumor Island 2.
Yeah, was great. Like the whole
Yeah.
thing where he sees.
Well, this is Tumor Island 3.
Yeah,
It's
okay.
like that times 10, probably.
Is it like feature length?
Yeah.
It's like
Oh,
an hour
okay.
long or something like
Right.
that.
Okay. I didn't hear about it.
Definitely check it out.
Yeah,
man.
I haven't watched Big Les since high school. Like,
Yeah.
since the very early days of Les, I've got poo in my mailbox.
Yeah, that's a classic.
that-
Is that the first episode?
No, that's the first episode. But I've
That's
watched
such a
like,
banger.
those first 10 or 15 episodes.
He just reaches in to the mailbox and gets his hand covered in feces and goes, "Oh Lord, help me know."
Oh God, help me now.
His voice is the best part about that
Yes.
character, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Les's brother as well. Like what's his
Norton.
Norton. Ah, I love Norton.
But anyway, so from watching like the final installment of Big Les and
Yeah.
just seeing how like it's pretty lazy animation,
Right.
Yeah.
I was
right.
thinking, yeah, I could, probably use paint and
that's
do
like-
something.
That's like the
Weren't they
charm
getting-
of it, though.
Weren't
Totally.
they getting rid of paint? Like, wasn't that getting
Like,
axed?
Really, like
for Big
paint.
Les.
I'm
Oh
pretty sure
yeah,
you
they
told me
were
that.
going to get rid of it, but I think
Uh,
there's just too much backlash.
Right.
Yeah.
People love paint.
That's
Yeah,
that's
it's a
right
great-
because
It's a great system.
yeah, it's got so much charm that like art style. I don't think Big Les could be done better
other
in any
way.
other way. Like if
Yeah.
it was this big studio thing, I don't think it would. I think it would just lose that authenticity,
it has
that
that-
lo-fi quality.
Yeah, it has that rural thing, like that Siggy Butt Brain sort of vibe,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Like that
Totally,
kind
yeah.
of thing.
But yeah, it feels like a couple of guys in a room drawing stuff. You know,
That's
Well, it's
exactly
actually
what it was.
one guy.
one
Is
guy.
it one guy? I thought
Jared
there was a
Wright.
team.
Jared Wright does pretty much everything. Like you'll see in the credits for this final installment, it's like produced, like everything drawn except one dude helps him with the background drawings.
Right.
And like he does all the music.
What is it with Jared's and
know.
creative geniuses?
Oh
don't
man,
know.
I don't know. I can't explain it. I wish I could call myself a creative genius.
I think I think you develop it. I think it's
Yeah.
like to an extent you're gifted with a set of skills, right?
Yeah.
Like cognitive abilities,
Yeah.
but then you have to train up any.
And you have
any
to
others.
prove yourself as a
absolutely,
genius
yeah.
first.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure.
In the eyes of the public.
Yeah, if you call yourself a genius, you're just a narcissist,
Exactly.
yeah.
right?
And I definitely was at one point in time.
I mean,
a total
I think every
narcissist,
young person is
calling
at one
myself
point,
a genius. Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah.
Totally.
So, how have you taken? Like, what have you learned from your criticisms that you've received from like your Instagram and all that?
Well, I've definitely become more self-aware. Like I uploaded a few where I was just like staring into the camera, being like, I'm not funny. I know I'm not funny.
Like a disclaimer.
Yeah,
Actually,
basically.
I think I watched that one. That was
Yeah,
pretty-
yeah.
like that. Yeah.
Yeah, and then getting like probably more likes on that was like, oofs.
I like the videos that I really love of yours on your Instagram page are your song videos. The
Okay,
one where
when
you
I
just make up
yeah.
like random ass songs.
Have you seen is it Marcus Belay or something like that?
No.
Oh man,
Haven't
he's
heard
like
of him.
this like square-eyed dude who's like looks like a geeky dude, and he just like has a keyboard and like he just makes beats out of it, right?
Yeah, okay.
And then he just like improvises songs over these beats. He really is, but he's like his production quality is great, and he's just like a
Okay.
really good musician. He's doing a tour at the moment of like world tour in like Europe and stuff. So he's like a DJ and all that kind of thing. But you could get like into that thing because you can freestyle.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So
Have you done much music recording or anything like that?
I've been practicing. Yeah. I want to start busking, and even like after seeing that pretty like shoddy live music,
Yeah.
I'm thinking like, oh, maybe I could just do it. Maybe I could just perform live
Yeah,
at some
I
pubs
think
and
if you
stuff.
bring something new and interesting to the table, you could definitely do something with that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just switched my phone to silent. I don't know if you guys have done that already.
I'm not getting any calls anytime soon.
Oh, no one cares about
Sam's
Yeah.
Samuel
forever
Reis?
alone.
Forever alone.
What
Yeah.
if a lady just hears that voice and
If a lady hears my sweet, lovely voice and calls my number at
I feel like if any lady is watching this, she's probably really, really depressed.
yeah, I think so.
jeez.
Yeah,
Thanks, man.
that just boosted my confidence level
I'm talking
down
about
to
us.
sub-zero
I'm
levels.
talking about us as well, man.
Yeah.
I don't know. You guys are pretty high profile guests. I'm glad to have some radio
Oh,
professionals
thanks, man. Thanks.
on the show.
I mean, I ain't that, but
No, we're amateurs at this thing.
yeah, I mean,
No,
we
yeah.
all
We're
are.
all alone,
We're
right?
all pretty much in the same boat. We got the community show. We're doing it.
yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
Hey,
Like learning the ropes kind of
hey.
thing, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
I feel like you're sort of carrying the show, and I kind of like that.
Yeah, it's.
I carry most of I carry most of it.
Oh, I've
most-
said this
like,
to
a
you
lot of the
before.
time.
You're the commander.
Yeah, I see
you're
that.
the army general.
Yeah.
I'm the like because I can think of things on the fly, right?
Yeah, the only reason I'm in this seat is just like necessity. I wasn't able to come on your guys' show every week, even though I wanted to, and
That's
that's
true,
fair
that's true,
enough.
that's
So
true.
I just
Well,
had to.
we'll
We'll
love
have
to
you
have
on
you
again,
back.
but like we're
Yeah.
having so many like ridiculous technical difficulties with our thing.
Yeah, yeah.
Like we
crazy.
haven't got this amazing setup here.
Yeah,
We got,
if it was like this, it would be amazing.
Oh,
bro.
yeah,
It
for
would
sure.
be so good.
like the vibe would be awesome. You could put like all this cool stuff around. you know?
yeah.
Sure.
Um,
Thanks to 89.1 FM Radio Blue Mountains. You're
Yeah, yeah.
listening to PeePcast.
It's funny. Like you think the city would have better equipment, right?
Yeah.
But like they're literally using mics from the friggin' 90s, man.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
and
This
just-
is a high-end mic. I was looking
Yeah.
at buying one of these. It was like $700
I thought that
to
was
$1,000.
yours.
No, it's not mine.
Okay.
This is like what the H3 podcast uses.
Yeah,
Really?
that's like
Yeah.
a legit. Yeah, those are legit. man.
Wow. What the hell? I think the thing though with rural areas is that
Rural.
it's more space and
Well,
you can see the
yeah.
space here.
And I
in the
definitely
country-
I
in the
definitely
city.
pay a bigger fee.
Do you
Do
pay
you?
a
than you
bigger
guys.
fee?
Yeah, it's $43 a month.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
Okay.
that's way more than us.
Yeah.
We had one off thing, and then it's like $5 for every 2 hours. It's great.
Yeah, I haven't paid a cent of that.
Is Dan just paying it for you?
No, Dan's. I said I'd pay it, but I haven't paid a cent of it.
I'm doing plenty for this guy.
Yeah,
I am paying his radio
You
fees.
know what? Dan gave me a house for Christmas. I
Yeah.
gave
What?
Dan 2 screenwriting books.
Dan gave you a house?
Well,
Well, my parents own the next door place, and then they're selling it, so the tenants moved out, and it's just empty for like 4 months while
Oof.
they're doing the transactions. I
Man,
can't
is
remember what it's
there
called.
enough room for a 5'11" Maltese guy?
Well, like, there would have been actually, but my mum was like, today actually, she was like, "Oh, can a 4th person move in? Because there's 3 people living there at the moment."
Okay.
And then I have to check with the other roommate if that's.
if we all
cool.
said no, would he like just not stay?
Who?
If all of us in the house said no,
Well, like I was like, I don't think it's fair to just spring a dude on you guys.
yeah,
Hmm.
And especially with like, cause Phil's one of my roommates, and he's a guy I've known for literally 15 years.
yeah,
And like, like he's the priority of making him happy, right?
Yeah.
So if he says no, then I'm gonna be like, nah.
All right.
You know,
Fair shake.
and we don't know what kind of square this guy is.
Yeah.
Mm.
When I'm getting to my vibes.
Get into
Yeah.
my Vine.
Well, how do you
Get my-
guys know I'm not a square?
I mean,
Look
you
at.
are a little bit of a square.
Yeah.
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 No, I mean
I've
no.
become more square with age, which I guess is just what happens, right?
This guy is punk. He is
Punk.
Yeah, he's punk. Look at Giuseppolo. Look at the character of Giuseppolo. Giuseppolo is a punk character.
Okay.
Like he is absurd as hell. Like he goes around shitting in people's houses, shitting in people's bathrooms.
I guess that's pretty punk. I didn't think of it like
it's
that.
pretty hardcore. I
Yeah.
would say it's quite mentally ill.
I mean, you
that,
never know.
That works.
He could probably be diagnosed with some kind of.
My first on-screen debut was when I was 10 years old and I played a mentally ill character.
Was
Really?
he called Daniel Gaughan?
Yes. I mean, he didn't have a name.
Was he called Adam Sandler?
Yeah, but I was
So-
just in a straitjacket
Okay.
in the background.
No specific mental illness, just sort of.
What
I
what is
was
the
just like,
context of
"Ah."
this?
Like, it was such a, like, I want to find it because it was like, everyone, at the time it was like really hilarious.
yeah.
It was like these two guys, they're neighbors, and then they're talking about some crap about the mail or something like that.
Yeah.
There's a whole skit that we wrote, but like I don't remember any of it because it was like 15 years ago.
Yeah.
And then I was in the background, like of every shot, I was in the background, like going like, "Arr!" like and just running off screen. And
Was there any reason?
No.
Were you just like, hey, I want to be a crazy guy running around in the background?
Pretty
in a
much.
straight
Yeah,
jacket?
yeah,
much.
yeah,
You're like,
yeah.
"Oh,
And they
okay."
gave you the opportunity to do that.
Well, like I was the one in charge of it. I was like,
So you're the
just like
director?
everything else, right?
You're
Yeah,
the
I was a director.
Okay, so you're like, all right, I'm gonna be this. I'm gonna be a straight man in a jacket. I'm gonna be the. I don't know. You were the Jewish producer that.
Yeah, except my
Jared-
voice.
Hello.
Yeah.
Oscar season. Okay, we got a guy. He's in a straitjacket. He's
right.
crazy. It's gonna be called Looney Movie 2D.
Oh boy, Bernstein, you really hit the nail on
It's
the
gonna be in 2D. You're gonna wear 2D glasses. Everything's gonna be so flat you won't believe it.
OMG, I'm peeing in my pants. I can't believe this.
You're peeing in your pants. I'm pooping in my pants.
Oh
Oh dear.
dear. I think
Oh
the
dear, I've run
Titanic
out of
is.
things to say. Oh my god.
Yeah, we got to find a way to take this somewhere. All these skits, all these ideas. I reckon we could do.
Absolutely. We just have to have our own channel 101. I
Yeah.
think that's exactly what
that's
we need
what
to
we're
I've been
do.
saying this
creating.
for years, man.
Yeah.
Like, we're just good. The problem is, right, it's the logistics of it, right? You live 2 hours away. Everyone lives very far away. Australians are lazy in general, right? They don't want to do anything. It's really easy to just
I'm
kind of
always
veg.
happy to drive to you guys to make.
Oh, yeah,
some shit.
absolutely.
Yeah,
but then,
you go
like,
the distance.
As long as we make something and don't sit around and talk about people being in love with cows
Yeah.
and don't actually make a story.
that was, but see, like that was still the writing process.
Yeah.
right?
That's true.
Like, you
I think
know.
we've learnt from
Yeah,
the mistakes
absolutely.
of that.
Yeah.
See,
Yeah.
I knew where that was going, and I knew it was going nowhere. But you both needed to work it out.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
just like,
Yeah.
you know.
Because one man.
And
can't-
then like you don't know, like it might go somewhere,
Yeah.
right?
Okay.
You might be down this really really crazy rabbit hole, and then you get the idea that kind of ties it all together and makes it funny, or whatever goal you're trying to achieve, right? But yeah, the logistics of it's the problem as well, man. Having the network of people as well. I mean, we've got a whole bunch of gear now.
Awesome.
And
Yeah.
we're planning to do something every Monday and Tuesday with Dean
Yeah.
and
Okay.
Bray
Yeah.
Okay.
and probably James Tapscott as well.
And probably
Winthrop.
Jared Hurdle.
Yeah.
And Jared
yeah,
Hill,
for sure.
you're welcome to come along.
Hectic. So what, Monday?
Yeah.
This coming Monday?
Definitely.
Not this kind of Monday. It won't be.
Oh.
Well,
It'll be
next Monday. Or,
Yeah. Wait. Maybe I don't know. We have to talk. To
We'll
Dean.
talk to Dean.
Yeah. But
Okay.
like I'll have to organize it.
Yeah.
But I'm doing I am friggin' swamped, man.
Mm.
Yeah.
I'm crazy busy. I'm trying to get Sam to take some of the responsibilities.
Take some of the load.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is all new to me. All
Yeah.
this,
So it's a big load.
responsibility.
It's a huge load. I mean,
Yeah.
this is all new to me too, man. I
Yeah.
just I have experience working and living.
Yeah, yeah.
So, you know.
Hmm.
And running and trying to run a business as well. Start a business.
Yeah,
with
Black Bolt
Pro-
Productions. Right?
Yeah.
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 I don't know if you
Black
guys
Bolt
want to plug
Productions.
it. There you
Oh,
go.
like I was gonna do that all at the end, because
Ah.
like
Yeah, but
Yeah.
we might as well just plug it now.
Plug away.
Black boat.
I'm gonna come
To your house.
to your house tonight.
As long as I'm invited. And we're all friends.
Because I'm a vampire.
That's right. Actually, are you a vampire?
Me?
Yeah. You've got a little bit of an Edward Cullen sort of hairstyle going on. Or
Really?
even Wolverine-esque.
Okay.
Yeah,
Kind of
very
thing happening.
post-coital.
I've never gotten that before.
Post-coital.
Post.
That's as though all the coital fluids
That
ended
answers
up in
that,
your
Dan.
hair.
Post-coital.
Yeah.
So what is your what's your 5-year plan here? What's
Oh,
it?
5-year
Yeah,
plan.
have you,
Yeah,
have
let's
you
get
thought
down to
that far
business.
ahead?
Look, I've been really thinking about music.
Yeah.
Yeah, and working on playing guitar and singing.
Are you like you're getting lessons still, right?
No, so I've taken a break from the lessons because what I've learned is there's just a ton of stuff I need to learn,
Mm-hmm.
and I need to just lock myself away and force myself.
That's pretty much
Yeah.
the vibe. Yeah.
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 Um,
It's all the basics, man.
and the other thing is, I think I've talked to Sam quite a bit about this graphic novel I've been trying to shape into like an
Yeah.
actual solid idea.
It's a cool idea, man.
And I'm still trying to work out what the heck that story is.
Yeah.
And I've been researching story circles.
Okay.
And actually, one of the great resources for me for understanding story circles is just watching Channel 101 stuff.
Yeah, totally.
Because it's like so on the nose, like, I don't refuse to take any responsibility. And then you get to the end of the episode and it's like, now I have learned that
yeah,
it's
yeah,
all
totally,
about
totally.
responsibility.
Yeah.
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 It's very like it was pretty meta. Like it's just like you're stating the subtext of what every story mechanically operates under, right?
Absolutely.
Which is the beauty of Dan Harmon. I think he marries that self-awareness and irony
Yeah.
together really well.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, I just I've totally gone through this whole. I think mostly through getting back into GBP, I'm just totally 100% back in full Dan Harmon and Justin Roiland fandom.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Well, they're definitely good sources of like inspiration, especially if you want to get into comedy in the 21st century.
Yeah,
Like,
totally.
These days, because we're seeing a lot of like self-aware meta humor becoming more mainstream.
Yeah.
It's interesting when we saw those guys from that movie guy, that editor.
Which one?
Aren't you that movie guy?
I'm that movie guy. I'm talking about that movie
On
guy.
Instagram, check him out.
Yeah, at that movie guy. Who was that guy that
The
we
editor.
saw? Yeah,
Jesse.
Jesse. Yeah,
Right,
yeah. He was talking about like what movies sell and what movies don't. And he's
Right.
like, people are more inclined to watch Will Ferrell type, Adam Sandler type comedies than
Easy comedy, right?
those easy. But I don't know if that's the case these days anymore. Really.
I think because like all right, well, I'll get some context. So Jesse is a guy that I went to AIM with, and his mother is a famous actress, and he runs a production company, and they're doing some pretty they're doing feature films, and they're doing pretty well.
Wow.
And yeah, I met up with him and Sam, and like he just like because I had told him I have a production company. He's like, oh yeah, come along and I'll show you the ropes. Pretty much, Screen Australia is a bust.
Yeah.
Like they apparently they get $2 million of funding for New South Wales. They spent $250,000 last year, so they just keep the money.
Yeah,
Like it's just
Jeez
like
Louise.
it's crazy.
They probably just they're
Are
literally
they just not finding stuff they like, or do you think they're just
just
greedy?
line their pockets, man. Like
Yeah.
honestly, like
And they
I mean,
pick and choose like really heavily. Like they've got a big filter.
well, like
well,
yeah,
I would say these views and opinions do not reflect the views and opinions of Jared Hurdle or the PeePcast. I'm a really big fan of Screen Australia, and I'd really like to meet you guys and have a good chat.
I'd like to beat you with a baseball bat. No, I'm kidding. But
I was going to say something really bad, but
you should.
I'll leave
Yeah. So like, and the like we did the because we're making a pitch plan for End of the Spaghetti 2.
Yeah.
Right, and then we went on Screen Australia website, did a whole thing, and then like started going through their questions, and all their questions are just like really, really like political and corporate.
Yeah, well,
based,
it's
right?
like a big important thing is like, is it about like Aboriginal and
Yeah,
Torres Strait
heaps
Islander
of diversity
and
stuff, right?
If the
and,
filmmakers are LGBT
yeah,
or
yeah.
like...
I mean, and
You
and
guys
see-
should transition and
I had that.
I
I
had
was,
that
I
idea.
was talking to Dan. I was like,
Yeah.
we should pose as a gay couple
I would
to fund Enter the Spaghetti.
I would
I
never
mean,
do
that's
that.
art. Do it for the art.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's it. You got to suffer for your art.
That's
You
right.
got to take the dick.
It's like
Yeah.
it's like the plot
Absolutely.
of We Now Pronounce You Chuck and Larry.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like, but Jesse did a feature film production, and 1/3 of his cast and crew were lesbian, gay, etc. And just not by like design either, just because those are the people that he works with, right?
Yeah.
And they still rejected him for funding.
Yeah.
Right? Like unless it's directly produced by like a disabled person or an indigenous person or whatever, then they don't really care.
So that is
Yeah.
certainly not equality of.
Opportunity.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. I
Well,
mean,
yeah,
it's a form of affirmative action, but like, part of me disagrees with the whole idea of having a government funding body funding art anyway.
Yeah.
Right.
Right.
Because like, it should be able to stand up on its own 2 feet. But then I get the other side of it is like, if you're from northern, like say Alice Springs, and you're like,
or you're from where I am.
yeah,
from,
or like just like bumfuck nowhere.
Yeah.
And you're gonna have less opportunities because there's just less stuff around.
Yeah.
100%.
Right.
Yeah.
So in that sense, I get the idea of having people fund stuff. But the other thing too, right? They won't fund projects that are under $500,000.
Yeah.
Like they just won't do it
Yeah.
at all, which is ridiculous, right?
Yeah.
I would have thought.
You think most projects would be below that?
Why wouldn't? Yeah. Why
it's
would?
like the cheaper the better. Like the cheaper
Yeah.
the better.
So
Right?
they have the mentality is like, oh, the more expensive it is, the better.
Yeah.
Right.
Because it'll pay off.
True.
Like what's like I would. I mean, it's better to diversify your portfolio anyway, right?
Yeah.
Like you should be, and you should give like, 20 directors, 20 grand each.
Yeah.
For a bunch of shorts, and then you see which one does the best, because some of them will make money.
Yeah.
For sure, right? Some of them will do well in the festival market. Some might go on YouTube or whatever.
Don't put all your
and-
eggs in one basket, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then the following year, you give let's say 5 of them made 40 grand off their film, right? They doubled the budget, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Then you give them 100 grand, and then you see what they do with that. That's how you build it up, and then you build this whole relationship.
It should be promoting new filmmakers, like
Yeah.
new exciting young filmmakers, but they're doing a terrible job at it.
Well, it's just it's just bourgeoisie, like rich, Northern Shore cunts that like.
They're like old and they wear pantsuits and they eat
and look,
shrimp.
we're all white privileged people here.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
like,
Sure.
there's a degree.
yeah.
And
Yeah,
we're definitely on the other side of that degree.
Yeah.
Literally and figuratively.
Yeah, but it should be about talent, right? It should
Yeah,
be
yeah,
about what
absolutely.
stories are telling good stories, right? That's what should be funded. Talent and pizzazz.
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 And I think Enter the Spaghetti has the pizzazz.
Oh, Enter the Spaghetti is oozing with style.
Yeah.
Oh, I appreciate
Jared
that.
See, we should put
2018.
that on a DVD cover.
Yeah, yeah.
And
It's like the
everyone
PeePcast.
respects the views and opinions
That's it,
of
that's
Jared
it.
Hurd.
Yeah, yeah. It's like the review on the DVD cover. Oozing with style. Jared Hurdle, PeePcast.
Yeah.
And then we'll fill it
Sounds
with
legit.
soy sauce so it literally oozes.
Yeah, there'll be a soy sauce packet
Yeah,
that comes
yeah.
with the
You open
DVD.
it up and it just explodes into your face.
Shouldn't it be like marinara sauce dripping out of it?
Well, like you could go either way, right? Because
Yeah.
it's the Bruce Lee or like spaghetti western
It's called
ripoff, right?
Enter the Spaghetti.
True,
I
true,
mean,
true.
It
Right,
should
look.
be dripping.
I came up with soy sauce. It
Spaghetti.
should have been
I
spaghetti.
think we should.
I'll
Where's
redact
your
my-
Italian
I'll
heritage when
redact
you
my
need
statement.
it?
Come on, Dan.
You don't respect
I
your
think-
heritage enough.
I think
man.
once Enter the Spaghetti becomes a franchise, we should start doing merchandising, like having Enter the Spaghetti marinara sauce,
Yeah.
like specific sauce,
Absolutely.
like
Specific.
Spaghetti.
bolognese
We'll
sauce,
start a sauce company.
like a sauce company, but it's
I
branded.
mean, I know how to
Enter the
make
Spaghetti.
pasta sauce. I've done it with my grandparents.
Yeah, so it's like a family recipe,
we literally
right?
have all the equipment in the garage.
Yeah, yeah. That's how we make millions, Dan. Billions. That's how we rule the world.
And people will discover the film through the sauce and vice versa.
yeah, yeah, yeah. The
It's
sauce.
multi-level branding,
Dan
cross-branding.
Gaughan, the sauce, the movie, the legend.
That's right.
Like your biography just delves into how you diverged into a sauce company. You wanted to become a filmmaker. Now you're like a sauce
Well, that's like
entrepreneur.
like that guy from the American Meme, right?
Yeah.
Have you seen that doco?
No, I haven't.
Oh, it's really good. You should watch
Okay.
it. It's because like it's one part like makes me angry about humanity and
Right.
like why we're even here and questions my insanity.
Totally.
On the other hand, it's like okay, like we're doing the exact same thing. Like we're all doing it. We're all doing like essentially what it is about like it's more or less about Paris Hilton and
Yeah.
like that whole
Okay.
phenomena of social media.
Yeah.
Right. And then there's this guy. What's his name? Yeah,
It's like the Fat Jew or
Oh
something
yeah,
like that.
he's literally called like the Fat Jew or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
And he was doing the same thing like that, right? And he did like something controversial and lost a whole heap of following.
Yeah.
And then he just started a wine company and just became filthy rich off selling a rosé.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
It's insane.
Yeah, it's really it's an interesting documentary because
Yeah.
like literally everyone does it now. Like the whole idea of a selfie, right, is originated essentially from LA, right?
Yeah.
Really? Because
Yeah.
I know the word actually came from Australia, calling it a selfie.
Yeah, but Australians like to put I or Y
Yeah.
on the end of everything.
Yeah.
Yeah. The
'cause they
concept
think
of
it's funny.
So they used to call it a self-portrait back in the day.
Self-portrait.
but like
Nah, mate, it's a selfie.
Yeah, we're gonna take a selfie.
Gonna go to the Oracle of Delphi and get myself a selfie.
I reckon.
It easily could have been a cell phone.
a
cell
cell phone. I think that
Yeah,
would.
A cell phone.
I like that. I like
take
that.
some cell phones.
I'll take that to the bank.
Doesn't ring a.
Yeah,
cell
selfie
phone.
sounds a bit better, doesn't it?
Yeah.
But yeah, I was about Screen Australia and all that kind of thing. So yeah, getting funding is not going to happen, essentially, more or less.
Yeah.
Unless
So-
you're
Exactly.
doing feature films and all.
But it is a feature film, is it not?
It's like a. It's
and
like
a
a
spaghetti.
short.
No, it's like it's
40
Part
minutes.
two?
30.
It's not 40 minutes.
30
No way
minutes.
it's going to be 40 minutes.
How many
20
pages
20
is it?
It's 11 pages.
11 pages is 11 minutes.
No, but it's gonna be filled with more visual stuff like silence.
Yeah, but it's still not going to be 40
It's gonna be like
minutes,
20
bro.
minutes long
Yeah.
or something
It'll
like
be,
that.
I reckon it'll be 15.
No,
That's my
but
guess.
but like Enter the Spaghetti, the first one's 8 minutes long,
Yeah.
and the script was like 3 or 4 pages.
The script was 4 pages.
Yeah. So
Wow.
I think it's
Yeah,
gonna be 20
But
minutes.
it's not going to be that 1-to-1 doubling, I don't think. I don't think so.
All right.
Not for this
We'll
movie.
see. We'll see. I'll try and make it as long as possible for you,
Like,
Dan, just to win this
Just
argument.
longer isn't better, though.
I know. I'm kidding. I'm
Yeah.
breaking your balls. I'm busting your balls. Come on.
Ah,
You're
they've been
Italian.
busted.
You're marinara sauce.
come on.
I'm busting your balls. here.
over here.
I find that offensive. You're being racist right now towards Italians.
Am I? Is it okay because I'm a quarter Maltese? Do I get away?
You know what, man? I'm gonna let you slide. All right?
Hey!
I have to call the Italian embassy, but I'm sure they'll be all right with it.
I've also played an Italian man. I've also played Giuseppe.
Yeah,
Giuseppe,
Giuseppe.
yeah.
There
That's
you
true,
go.
that's
Cultural
true. He's in.
appropriation.
He's in. Actually, that's a good pivot. Because we were talking about this cultural appropriation thing
Yeah.
the other day. I think you should bring it up.
Yeah. So
Don't you have to mention names?
no, I'm not going to mention names, but that like the issue of cultural appropriation is something that I've been interested in lately.
Yeah.
Because there's this whole thing going around about Ariana Grande,
Mm-hmm.
like culturally appropriating Black and Asian culture,
Okay.
and
What did she do?
it's like she's stealing like these people claim that she's stealing Black influences for the purpose of marketing, right? And she is also like I don't know, she's like also using Black image, like a Black image and an Asian image to sell her music. And it's like on the one hand I kind of get it when it comes to the image part of it, like masquerading as another race to sell music. I kind of get that idea.
I think it's art.
But
and
at the
it's
same
just
time, when it
limits.
comes to music, I am vehemently against the idea of calling something out as cultural appropriation.
Right. So in the auditory sort of medium, it's totally fine. But if it's visual, it's not.
not like
Well, see, why draw that distinction in the first place?
yeah,
Do you know what I mean?
yeah,
Like, why is the visual different to the audio in terms of cultural appropriation or anything like that, right? Like, in my point of view, right, there has always been a cultural appropriation, right?
Yeah.
yeah,
We have cafes because the Italians and the Lebanese and most of the Mediterranean countries immigrated after the war.
Yeah.
Right. That's the only reason we have cafes. We would have never gotten coffee any other way.
yeah.
Same with pizza. Same
Yeah.
with pasta.
Us trying to make
Right.
films is cultural appropriation of the Americans.
Is my using
Come on.
chopstick cultural
Yeah.
appropriation?
Yeah, because it's
right?
like what is white, right? What is black? There's different subcultures and subgroups. There's Sudanese and Ugandan are different from each other.
Yeah.
Their cultures are different.
Yeah.
Is culture
I have
specifically
one
related
question,
to
though.
race?
Do you know the way? Is that cultural appropriation?
That came out of nowhere. I love it. It was great. Like, Well, see, we were talking about that as well, right? Like, I think an SJW or like that kind of vibe would call that racist, right?
That joke.
Yeah, totally,
Yeah.
absolutely. Whether or not it is, I don't think so, because like
I think it's a celebration, honestly. Like,
Well,
I wouldn't care so much about African. I
Mm.
mean, maybe that's the issue, that I wouldn't care so much about an African
It's-
accent
yeah.
unless I was laughing at it. I don't know.
It's not so much a celebration. It's more so like you don't really think about it. You're just making a joke, right?
Yeah.
It's a reference to a movie, right?
yeah.
Oh, it's
And
from
you-
a movie.
Isn't it from a movie
Yeah,
or
it's from-
I
something?
just know the Ugandan Knuckles meme.
I don't know. I think it's from a meme.
I think it's from a meme, right? But either way, you're impersonating that meme, and it's like that's what the meme is for, right?
yeah,
It's
to be replicated. Right?
to re-replicate
Yeah.
it, yeah. And it's like that's the same with music. You know, you borrow different things from different genres, and you create new and
Yeah.
creative things.
But you
from
just
those
cannot
genres.
do that with images, according to Samuel Reis.
No, I'm not talking about like films and stuff like that. I'm talking about more so
You're
like
talking about
marketing material?
because we're talking about specifically about Ariana Grande and her aesthetic, right?
yeah.
I think I don't know her background or anything like that, but she gives off more of a like Californian vibe to me than like a like a black rapper vibe or like a black
like a black
artist.
R&B type thing.
Right.
Yeah.
But
Like,
that's the thing, like she's from California, right?
I'm not saying that I fully agree with it or that like she shouldn't do that. I'm just saying that I kind of see where they're coming from.
I do see where they're coming from,
Yeah.
though. But like that, I think that line of logic is flawed,
Yeah.
right?
Well,
Like,
it doesn't have any pragmatic outcomes to it. Like
Then what's the point of talking about it?
The only thing that it prevents is is probably like blackface or something like that, which is already
But
like
it doesn't
Yeah.
prevent
Doesn't-
that because
doesn't
no
exist.
one's gonna do blackface.
exactly.
I
It
don't
doesn't
know,
exist.
boys. You should come over in a few days. I got some
I
plans.
just pictured you. I just pictured you like alone in your room, and there's like a mirror on the floor, and it's just there's just like black shoe polish all over the walls and stuff, and you're just like, yes,
Hey guys.
I will be Kanye West eventually.
Yeah.
But that's what I mean. Like that's why I said that conversation that you were having with those people was
Yeah.
like, it's just them virtue signaling. They
Oh,
just they're
absolutely.
just trying
That's
to
what
get
I was gonna
like
say, yeah.
they're just trying to get points, like to be
Yeah.
like, oh, I think this is wrong,
Yeah.
and like,
What's the next big
here's
issue?
My morally, I am ethically
Superior.
to whatever.
Absolutely,
right.
yeah.
And there's no real winners or losers to it.
No,
Yeah.
it's just like creating a game that you're already in and sort of winning because you've bought into.
But it's
the
not like they're
ideology.
creating the game either. It's like they're repeating like talking points from these people.
Oh, yeah,
like,
absolutely, yeah.
Well,
You
they're
know.
playing a game, right?
Yeah, they're playing the game.
They're playing a certain game, right?
Yeah.
Because you can,
But it's like, do they know the outcome of that game, or where that game leads, or how that game will go about?
Well, like,
you know,
see,
Or
there's a whole bunch of different like subcategories in talking about these kinds of things, right?
Mm.
I mean, I even have trouble labeling it, right?
Yeah.
Because to some extent, it's like the intersectionality thing, and in some sense, it's identity politics, and in some cases, it's Marxism and communism, right? It's like depends on which thing, but they've all been lumped into this one thing, right?
yeah,
But what it boils down to is like people vying for power via group identity.
yeah, and it doesn't.
Right.
Control of language.
Yeah. That's it. Yeah.
It doesn't create more equality. It doesn't make a better society. It only creates more conflict between races, between
absolutely agree.
white and black. Like, what can white people create to not get scrutinized by these people? Like,
Well, it's like because in the perception of the entire Western world, and to some degree, like, and it's justified to a large extent. Like,
Yeah.
there's still that guilt from the past of like black slavery of white slavery.
Do
of
you
blacks,
feel
right?
guilty?
I mean, I'm half Sicilian, half Irish, right?
Hmm.
So my Irish side was was slaves to the English for hundreds of years, and they were hated by English people when they got to Australia as well. And Sicilians used to get called the N-word in the 40s.
Really?
As well, yeah, because they're further south,
Yeah,
and they're
okay.
much darker than
Yeah.
like mainland Italians. So. I don't claim any of those things, right? I'm not like here claiming
So
that
you
I'm
don't
this
think you get to
victimized
use?
person.
You don't think you get to use the N word?
I didn't use it then, did I?
No, you didn't.
So
Yeah.
But we are on radio.
yeah,
I
but I
don't
wouldn't
think anyone could say
like
it.
I use it. I would use it as a joke to someone I'm really intimately close with.
Yeah.
As a shock joke, right?
Yeah.
Like, but that's only like in the privacy
In a
of my own
context
home.
where you know
Yeah,
you're not
yeah.
actually
You wouldn't say
offending
you
anyone.
wouldn't
Context
just
of, like,
put it out on the street
no,
or anything like
there's
that.
no. I don't feel the need to use it for some kind of
Attention or-
agenda or
yeah.
attention generator. It's more of a joke
Yeah.
thing. But yeah, like, so even in the context of Australia, right? Because like the funny thing is that we all reference American media more than we reference Australian media,
100%.
right? So so we tend to like conflate the issues of white and black to the American white and black, and then kind of project ourselves onto it.
Well, our history with our black people,
I was
our
getting
indigenous
to
is,
that, right?
with
But we do
Aboriginals,
have
yeah.
our own issue with that, right? You know, there is that whole past that no one talks about.
Yeah.
I mean, until it's Australia Day, and then everyone gives a
Well,
shit.
we
for
have
2
actually
minutes.
talked about it on quite a lot of episodes of the PeePcast because Finley has been reading The Fatal Shore,
Okay.
so he's been sort of delving into that subject.
Let me finish my point, but I
Yeah.
kind of want to hear about
Oh,
that.
that's kind of all I wanted to say.
Like I wanted to hear about the actual book, if he's talked about it or not.
Oh, okay.
Right.
Well, we'll get you and Finley on sometime.
Yeah, I'd love that actually. But yeah, so in my point of view, from where I've come from and all that kind of stuff, I'm sure like down my line of Irish, on the Irish side, there was some kind of thing there, right? But on the Italian side, no. My parents came here in the 50s, right?
Okay.
So how could they would not have interacted with any indigenous people pretty much their entire lives,
Right.
right? They really haven't, right?
Yeah.
So I like, in a sense, I don't really have a horse in the race, right? But in the same time, being an Australian, you're kind of shafted with that identity that you have to just kind of like work with, right?
Yeah.
But if you're going to talk about these kinds of things and bring it all up, like, it's relevant to know all the data, which none of us know, right? I know some of the data. I know how many Indigenous Australians there are, right? It's a very, very small percentage of the population. Way smaller than African Americans in America, right?
Yeah.
I think it's like 11% in America. It's 0.4% in Australia.
Wow.
So it's really, really small. Not saying that's not to say that they're irrelevant, though, right?
Yeah,
Obviously.
No, they're a part
Not
of the
at
No
all,
culture.
one's
yeah.
saying that, and I'm not saying that either. But you have to grapple with the actual realities and the facts of it, right? We haven't talked about, there's not education about like what we did to them, right?
Yeah,
I'm
there's
using pejorative
barely
we.
anything.
Exactly,
Yeah.
right? There's also like no clear direction forward either, right? Because they've been having this kind of conversation for years and years and years,
Yeah.
right? About, like from the freedom riders in the 60s till now,
Yeah.
it's been going on, this whole, what do we do about this whole situation? And then like, I was talking to this anthropologist, like maybe, this would have been like 2 months ago now, who outlined this kind of thing for me, right? And like, I was like, she like baited me into it. So I was like, there's kind of two ways of looking at it, right? There's like, you either give them back the land and then all the white people fuck off.
Where do we go?
Well, or they assimilate into the culture, right? And then they're given.
I don't think they're your only two
opportu-
options.
Like, what other options are there?
I mean, we could like share, like they can do what they want, can they not? Just live their way and we live our way, and
Well, yeah.
Like segregated.
oh, it doesn't have
Not
to be
not
segregation.
deliberately
Like people do
segregated,
what
right?
they
But-
want. Like if they wanted some of us to join them and some of us wanted to join them, like that's something that
Well,
would be worked
it's
out on an individual basis.
Totally. But those two positions I outlined are kind of the nomenclature, right?
So no one thinks that they can just do their thing and we do
Well,
our
that's
thing.
the, like you give them land to do that
Yeah,
thing in, right?
yeah.
Which is already the case. They already have that kind of thing.
Is it like enough?
Well,
land?
Like you
Is
have
it
to ask
decent
them.
I
Right?
think culturally they're in a crossroads between the modern and the I don't know if ancient is the right word, but like their indigenous culture.
Their heritage.
Yeah. So they're in a crossroads where they don't really know where they belong.
Right.
Like it's
Totally.
either you're outcasted in one group or you're outcasted in another.
Sure.
So they're having sort of a collective identity crisis, I guess.
Yeah, I would say so, man.
Yeah.
Like the problem with having that kind of conversation here is that no one's present to represent
Yeah,
them.
because
Totally.
I think we should have some sort of spokesperson, not spokesperson, but
I
someone
would
who
love,
knows their
I would
shit
love
about
to
that.
talk to an Indigenous person about it on our radio
Yeah,
show, right?
yeah.
That's that's a goal of mine for
Yeah.
sure. But in saying that, right, like you can't. The problem is you just can't give them money, right? Because what are they going to do with it? They don't want to do anything with it. A lot of the people, right? And
Well, it's kind of playing the game on our terms if we're giving them our currency, right? That's weird.
yeah, that is an interesting point, right?
Yeah.
So you have to have that dialogue. I think most people just want things to be outraged by. Like I watched
absolutely.
I saw this SBS video today actually, and it was Carrie Ann getting berated by Yumi something or other, this new panelist that they have.
Who's Carrie Ann?
Oh, she's like some old 9 News TV celebrity.
Oh, yeah, she's on the project sometimes.
So it's like
Yeah,
blonde.
yeah,
She's
yeah.
got Botox everywhere.
Yeah,
she's
one of the,
old as hell.
You know how they're all trying to really, really hard, really, really badly maintain
It's like that scene
themselves
from
in the
the
90s.
Simpsons movie where he has the
it was-
clip on the
it's got,
back.
that's exactly what it is, right?
Kent Brockman.
Because they're all the old media's dying out, figuratively and literally, right? So, but there's this new panelist, and then the video section I saw was really small, and it was very, very carefully, selected, obviously.
Yeah.
But it was essentially like Carrie Ann was saying,
I know you're Sicilian and everything, but you got to stop hitting the table
"Oh yeah,
with your hands. Yeah.
No, I'm gonna do it anyway.
If you put your headphones on, then you'll hear it all, so you might be
What?
more conscious of it.
my headphones aren't working at all,
Oh,
man."
are they plugged in?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, then maybe they just don't work. Just try not to hit the table.
Yeah.
Carry on.
Yeah, no, yeah, Carrie Ann, yeah.
Yeah.
So she was saying something about how no one pays attention to Indigenous people in rural areas where all the problems are at, right? And then Yumi was just that sounds really racist of you. I feel like you're being really racist. And then Carrie Ann was like, well, I'm offended by that. And then she goes, well, I'm offended by everything you're saying because it sounds racist.
We're
Well,
both offended.
And then she was just like, well, I'm offended by you.
Well,
literally it was like that, right?
How could she be offended when she's not even Aboriginal or she's not even from a rural area?
Well, okay, so the next part of the video was an Indigenous woman protesting the
I'm just gonna check the camera.
okay. An Indigenous woman protesting outside of what is it? What is it? 10 Project or Project 10 or whatever it is.
Yeah.
Right. And then she was pretty much saying Carrie Ann's a bitch, and we're all rooting for you, Yumi, and all this kind of thing.
Yeah.
But the problem is that there's no real pragmatic issues addressed.
Yeah.
Right. There's no.
It sounds very vague.
It's the thing. It is so vague, and that's the whole problem with the entire conversation in general about these whole things is that it's vague, right?
Yeah.
The only concrete thing that's in the mainstream media is the change the date debate.
Yeah, that's the only time Aboriginal issues are ever addressed.
But
And
should
it's
there
only,
even be
it's
an
only
Australia
that
Day?
issue.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Should there even be an Australia Day? What are we actually celebrating if not? Oh yeah, we got here and we're all getting drunk.
Well, I think it's a matter.
Yeah, pretty much,
I
right.
think it's a matter of perception, really. I don't think we have a collective or traditional idea of what Australia Day means.
Australia's
What it's meant to, what's supposed to represent is a day for all Australians to celebrate the fact that they're Australian.
I mostly
whole
see
thing.
people celebrating the fact that they're bogan and being as bogan as they can be on Australia Day.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's more.
And the problem is with that is
that's the Australian identity, though.
yeah.
Unfortunately.
the white Australian identity.
And the problem with that is that our Aboriginals included in that whole thing of celebrating this British colonial
Yeah.
holiday.
Right,
Ideally,
right.
they would be included, but
Well, ideally, but not because their land was taken, their women were raped, and hundreds of tribes and languages are lost as
Yeah.
a
Yeah.
result of
Yeah.
the colonialization. So, I think the date should be changed symbolically.
but does that fix anything?
It doesn't fix anything, but it does change.
Like,
It does aid solidarity.
I think
Yeah.
there shouldn't be an Australia Day. There should be some kind of like I guess we have NAIDOC week, right?
Yeah, we have
That's
NAIDOC
a
week, but
celebration of Aboriginal stuff.
See,
but-
Australians just terrible at coming up with names for things.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Like
not
all
great.
the names sound so
Why isn't there just,
pathetically
like,
daggy.
An
Yeah.
Aboriginal Day or something like that.
Well, that's NAIDOC week, but like I
Aboriginal
think there
stuff,
should be.
yeah, because you have to include.
But
all
NAIDOC
the-
just sounds stupid.
I don't know.
Isn't it?
But
It's an analogy, isn't it? Like a national
yeah,
Aboriginal,
it's,
yeah, I don't know, but
whatever it is.
yeah, but we
Acronym.
should sort
Yeah,
of
acronym,
have
that's the one. Yeah.
we should have like an Independence Day type thing that
Well, like,
is like
Yeah,
isn't
for the Aboriginal people.
apparently, like the date it is now isn't even like the date Captain Cook came, right?
yeah.
But we shouldn't even be celebrating that. We should be celebrating the Federation Day when we became
But that'd
a
be the
nation.
1st of January, right after everyone's hungover
See,
from New Year's
Australians are
Eve.
so stupid.
Yeah.
They put their important dates on other important dates.
Yeah,
It's
totally.
so dumb.
Yeah.
Like, but we'll have it January 2nd. Who gives a shit, right?
Yeah.
Like, have it whenever you want. I don't know. Like, I don't know. I get your point, right? And
Yeah.
I agree with it, actually, to be honest, that they should change the date
Yeah.
purely because of the solidarity thing, right?
Yeah.
But
I think it should be a new event. Like we should change what we are
we
celebrating.
should,
yeah.
we should have a moon festival, bro. We should have like a week where everyone just gets fucking ridiculously wasted
Yeah.
and like does like all crazy psychedelic
I
stuff.
thought, isn't that every day of your life? Dave?
I don't see why we can't start creating new traditions and new ideas in our society now.
Well, that's what
we
Australia's-
we keep celebrating old shit, but we don't create any new days or
Well-
any new celebrations or anything.
The beauty of Australia is that it's new on the block, right?
Yeah, it's 200 years old.
Yeah, it's very new, and the culture is very unique.
The white
right?
Australian culture. That's
Yeah,
just the
yeah.
white
Yeah, but like,
history, yeah.
Like Federation
regardless
type.
of the past, right? The current Indigenous Australians that are alive are in this culture now,
Yeah.
right? They're a part of the Australian culture now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, it's very new and it's very unique and it's different, right? People think differently, we act differently, we have different accent. So we have and that's why I think in the coming years we're going to be some of the most creative people as well.
Yeah.
Because we have that melting pot vibe.
And this is the vibe that I got from Dean from our last episode, which you can check out on our SoundCloud.
The Family Jam with Dan and Sam.
Yeah, the Family Jam with Dan and Sam. But this is the vibe that I got from him is that he was talking about his experience trying to do comedy in Britain.
Yeah.
Everybody is very salty and like, Jesus, try and be an insult comic in Britain.
Yeah, but they're British are very witty as well.
They are,
yeah.
but it's like, but I feel like this is what I'm trying to say. I think Australians are the new comedians because we're so open to breaking each other's balls, and we're so open to like banter, and we don't really care too much about stereotypes and all that kind of comedy.
I think
or at least that's what it was back in the late 2010s.
I disagree with that. The point
I
that
kind
like
of do, yeah.
we all think like that.
No,
There's
I
a
don't-
strong conservative vein in Australia.
And I also
agree,
think
I
as a
agree.
creative entity, we're also, like we've talked about this before, Australians are just quite lazy and don't have the same work ethic.
I guess I'm talking
the
more
US,
as how the world sees Australia as opposed to
Right.
Australia's collective consciousness.
How do you think the world sees Australia?
I think the world sees Australia, and I
as
know
Jim Jeffries.
as Jim Jeffries. Yeah, basically, right?
yeah.
he's pretty funny, but
I don't
Yeah.
like him.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, he's just,
Jim Jeffries, if you're watching, not a
Yeah.
fan.
Well,
get the fuck out of
you
here.
won't get an endorsement from us.
Yeah.
So,
I like him. I think he's alright.
but yeah, I guess it's like I guess they see us as the jokers. A lot of people in the world don't take Australia seriously. Like our politicians are clowns.
But it seems,
Uh,
but it's only because it seems like I was watching Joe Rogan the
Yeah.
other day, and he had this New York Times writer on called Barry something or other, and she had just come back from Australia, and she's like, Australia's great, and like she outlined all the things that we pretty
Gun
much
control.
said about like how. Yeah, not really about that.
Oh,
But
okay.
more about like how we know everything that's going on in America.
Totally.
But then she said like at the same time she's like I feel like we're sleepwalking through history is what she said.
Jeez Louise.
Yeah.
That's,
Which I think is completely legitimate.
yeah, that cuts deep.
Because we don't talk about like how everything we have is essentially American, Japanese, or British invented, right?
yeah.
How we how Australia displaced the indigenous culture, right? How we're going to be owned by China, if not already, in a very short period of time. And we're going to be their lackeys, essentially.
Yeah.
Or America's lackeys from now on, right?
Rather be America's lackeys.
Well, like, America's not going to last forever, more or
What
less.
makes you say that?
Because China has the manpower. They just have more people.
America has the brand power. Oh, say, can you see?
But you'll be learning Mandarin soon enough. You'll be able to do that one pretty soon.
Oh, no. No, like, I have no problem with China. I feel like I've grown up with fairly American values. And
Absolutely, you can, because throughout the entire 20th century, America was like, Australia was America's like little like a tumor of a brother.
Yeah,
right?
especially post World War II.
Yeah, like I think like Haiti and a few other colonial countries, right, have had a similar experience, but nothing like America and Australia.
Yeah.
In terms of having resources and all that kind of stuff, right? So where these weird anomalies, because you got to think about it too. And Australians, I mean, this is just my perception, but I feel like a lot of people would probably share this. Like, you don't have a strong connection to your cultural identity.
Yeah, I
right?
agree. I feel like so much of my cultural identity comes straight from the US.
Yeah.
Imported from the US.
This would be different if we were talking to like, those true blue, like maverick, Aussie blokes, right?
Yeah.
Or Sheilas.
Yeah. I'm talking more specifically about Australian cultural identity.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we don't have a strong connection to like any really cultural identity, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
like a lot of us I draw a lot from my Sicilian heritage, and I was raised more Sicilian than I was Australian, right?
Yeah.
I do the same with like Maltese and Italian as far as like cuisine
Exactly.
and stuff. Because
And
what's
you see
Australian
it
cuisine?
everywhere, man. If you go, like, I was in a music video not too long ago, actually, and there was a guy there who was an actor, and we got along pretty well, and he just like he's from Iran, right? And then this other guy from Iran was there, and they immediately started talking in their language, and just like had this whole thing. It was like this massive pride towards Persia, even though like one of them was born here, right? But the point is that we haven't got these deep roots. But you have to realize, like, China has been around for 10,000 years at least, right? Like, their culture is old, right? And so is Japan, so is India, so is Britain. And so is Italy and all these kinds of countries, right? These are ancient cultures, the same way Aboriginals are, right? And Native Americans, right? These are all ancient cultures. So we're new on the block, and we have those tethers to those old cultures, but we actually don't, because we're not them, right? You're in a different environment, in a different setting. You're gonna be different, right?
Yeah.
You're gonna adapt differently to the environment, right? So we are still working this out, and we're literally at the beginning of it, right? 200 years is not even, if you're thinking evolutionarily, not even half of a second, right? In an evolutionary term.
Relatively, yeah.
So we're all working this out, and we're on the frontier of it, man.
Yeah.
Because the old media is dead, dying. Like all these people are just stuck in their ways, right? I went on a Tinder date with this chick who works at Channel 9 not so long ago, and she was just
Was she a 9?
I'm not going to disclose that.
Oh, private information.
Yeah. But yeah, she was just like, she's one of those chicks that just pulled herself up from her own bootstrap. She came from a pretty rough background, and she works in Channel 9 with all these like rich, like white North Shore kids, right?
Yeah.
Who are all in their 30s, and they're all just so cynical and jaded, and like, they're burning down the machine on purpose, right?
Ooh.
More or less. Like, she said that her producer picks what she's gonna run as a serious story on the basis of how much it makes her laugh.
What?
Yeah.
Because we watched that episode of A Current Affair like a month, 2 months ago, and it was ridiculous, like what it was about and the way the whole thing was portrayed.
Yeah, the meat pie one.
It felt like a farce, like a total parody.
Yeah.
But it was the actual episode of A Current Affair. So I guess that's exactly what you're talking
Exactly,
about.
man. It's cynical. It's so cynical and it's so corrupt,
Yeah.
right? Like I don't know if I talked to you about that ABC panel that we went to, right?
A bit.
Yeah, like.
Well, I actually listened to the episode of the Family Jam where you talked about it.
Okay, yeah. So like they blatantly admit corruption,
Yeah.
right?
Oh, okay, what did they admit to?
Just the idea that like you're gonna be swayed by the party that's funding you at the time.
Oh, yeah.
Right, and yeah, that's I think that's a natural phenomenon, right? But your job as a journalist is to be unbiased. You are you're one of the most powerful tools and the most responsible. And you have to be the most responsible in your representation of information, right? And that journalistic integrity has gone out the window. Like it used to be a huge deal. If you were a journalist in the 50s, right? You were you're as respected as a judge.
Yeah.
You know, because like you're the one giving them the information, and you want the truth, right? And of course, there was propaganda back then, and all that kind of stuff, and advertising and all that kind of nonsense, right? But at the end of the day, you were getting the information, the information pipeline runs on the integrity of journalists, and it's completely gone.
Yeah.
You know?
A lot of things are gone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's all coming down. And here we
We
are.
have to rebuild. I mean, people are always going on about the end of the world, and it is kind of the end of the world as we know it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's the end
Of the world as we know it.
We just detoured into a musical break.
That was cute. That was
Yeah.
cute.
Yeah, totally.
Can we take a break? that a thing?
I mean,
I've been talking. My
I don't-
voice is getting.
your voice is getting
Like,
worn out.
Yeah.
What if Sam and I just carry it for a little while?
Well, I'm gonna do this then.
Oh, he's going to have a cigarette. All right, we'll do a little bit of a Sam and me thing.
All right.
All right.
Yeah. So what do you think about all of this?
What do I think about all of this? Like, there's a lot to think about.
There is absolutely a lot.
like what specifics?
I guess, yeah, the end of old media, and it is kind of the end of the world as we know it, as cheesy as it is to say.
I don't think it's the end of the world, but I think
As we know it.
as we know it, yeah. But every day,
Media as we know it.
yeah. As far as like media and old media, it is the end of that world because the thing is, nobody watches it. Like that's the one thing, right?
Totally.
Who watches TV?
Well, I only just found out maybe a month ago that Channel 7, Channel 9, and Channel 10 are actually streaming their channels on the internet.
Yeah.
And apparently that only started like a year ago. I couldn't believe
I
it.
swear that started ages ago because I remember
Well,
watching all those shows online back when I was a kid in high school.
Right.
Yeah.
I know they've had like sort of catch-up things, kind of more like an SBS On Demand or an iView,
Yeah,
where
yeah.
they have some of the stuff.
Yeah, the
like,
catch-up
like
stuff.
a small library of things that have recently
Oh, so
aired.
it's like streaming live.
Yeah, the actual
Ah,
channel.
right,
yeah.
right,
And apparently that's only happened recently, so I was a bit blown away by how behind they are.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, we've all been watching YouTube and Netflix for years.
Yeah. I think with Netflix, there's no competition. Netflix has got the bag because it's content on demand, 24/7. You can watch anytime. A huge library of American stuff. Who cares about Australian media? Because like Australian movie, like I'm sorry, but Australian movies and Australian content is no match compared to American or foreign content.
We're just not as competitive and motivated. We just have a different
We just
culture.
don't care, but it's also, I think it's also on the fault of Screen Australia, who obviously have a bias towards projects that are made by personalities as opposed to projects that are made by people with talent.
Right, so what does that mean?
What does that mean is that there's less talented people making talented stuff, and there's more projects specifically made towards selling a personality. Like,
Do you mean more like a culture or a political view than a personality?
I think culture and political view are high in that regard. Like that's a high priority in Screen Australia's regard. But I don't
But
know.
like if I went to Screen Australia and was like, hey, I'm a personality, look at me, I'm just Cephalon.
I think what I'm trying to say is they're trying to sell more of an identity, like a cultural identity.
Yeah, they're trying to sell
The outback.
Australia, right?
Yeah,
And
yeah.
our
Because
culture.
I think what they they want to showcase Australia to America. I think mostly for tourism.
Yeah.
Like you look
Sure,
at
yeah.
Red Dog and all these films filmed in the outback, in the desert, and an American person's like, oh wow, that's unlike anything I've ever seen before. I think I'm gonna go to Australia. And it's like, not only does it help Australia's tourism, but it also helps the film industry as well. The problem is not a lot of those films become successful because they're not that great. Because they're not made
Yeah.
by talented people.
I struggle to think of Australian cinema and television that I actually like.
Yeah, I mean, I saw this film the other day that was really good. It was called Sweet Country.
Okay.
It's a film made by an Aboriginal filmmaker, Warwick Thornton. He's talented as hell. Really good filmmaker.
Nice.
I highly recommend it.
What was it? Sweet
Sweet Country.
Country. Okay.
Beautifully filmed. Like, it looks like an American film. Like, it doesn't look Australian at all. Because I think
Yeah.
Australia has a very distinct aesthetic
It
as
has
far as
a
films.
stagnant aesthetic, I would say.
I wouldn't say
a lot
it's-
of it looking similar color palettes.
Yeah, well, it's either really stagnant with no style.
Yeah, just like get it shot.
Just get it
Because
shot.
we actually had a teacher at film school. I was like, oh yeah, so you know how important is style for you,
Yeah.
and sort of like where does your sort of inspiration for the shots you get come from? And he was just like, mate, I just shoot it.
Yeah, it's like a
Like,
job.
I just have to get everything in the shot. That's it.
It's a job.
Like,
There's no art. There's no passion
Yeah.
towards it, and that's the stuff. That's what Dan and I are trying to put into the film industry is revolutionize Australian films.
yeah,
Um,
it's got to happen.
Where I am sick and tired of the same old thing. The same, like an Australian film is either really stagnant, really bland, or over stylized
Yeah, okay.
and really cartoony and wacky. Like, I don't know if you've seen Dirty Deeds, the film that Dan and I talked about.
No, but I listened to your review of Dirty Deeds.
Yeah. Stuff like that, like, and the stuff like Baz Luhrmann makes, which is really cartoony and wacky. It's like
Totally.
Australia is so out of touch with everything. That's because we're 5 years behind everyone.
I know we definitely were. Maybe we were even a decade behind. Like, I
Yeah.
felt like, because I see all these memes like, oh, only 90s kids remember. Like, I was born in 97, and
Yeah.
I look at all the, like, Cartoon Network stuff from the 90s, and it's like, well, that's everything I grew up on. So I
Yeah.
guess we were kind of getting the television from the 90s in the early 2000s.
Yeah, or living in 2003 would have been like living in 2000 or living in 1997, right?
Yeah, something like that.
If we're gonna compare it to America,
Yeah, but I would say that's less the case now.
Yeah.
With YouTube and Netflix
with
and more
the
of an
with
online.
social media and with the advent of all those like technological advancements, we are more susceptible to catch up with that. But at the same time, we are behind because we're not making anything.
Yeah. Okay. In terms of creating,
As far as content, as far as like media, film, music, even music, I think we've got a pretty good music scene in Australia.
Okay.
With Triple J, right?
Sure.
Not in quality, but in the fact that we are making, in the fact that we've got a homogenous thing going on, where everybody in Australia is getting involved to try and get their songs on this radio station.
Okay.
Like, but yeah, as far as films or as far as television, Australia is just not there. We're 5 years behind America as far as content.
I don't know if it's as much of like a measurement in years. I just think the quality is not quite there.
Yeah.
You could measure it in years, though.
Okay.
I measured it in years only because of I'm comparing like mostly productivity, like the stuff we're actually making.
Wise, okay.
Uh,
Like how much?
Yeah.
Because we're making less stuff comparatively to America.
There's less of us in general, though.
Yeah. The population is much less.
Totally.
But yeah, we're struggling to find an identity as far as what we're trying to sell to other countries. As far as our art, as far as our films, as far as our music, what is our aesthetic? What is the Australian aesthetic? Because
I think the Big Les show really nails
yeah,
Australian culture.
I think so too. From what I've seen of it, yeah.
So, would you say, like, what do you think that is, though?
Well, that's the doobie smoking, the swearing, the sort of just depravity,
Yeah.
right? Like, is that not... like, that's kind of like my teenage years. I think for a lot of people,
Yeah.
people just identify with this, like, ridiculous level of,
Like,
like bong smoking and just
Extreme
swearing.
sarcasm.
Yeah, and just
Yeah.
paying out on each other.
Yeah. Like, do you think that's a direct correlation, like, direct cause from like our colonial, like our
like convict ancestry.
Yeah,
I think it totally could be. Like,
right?
Well,
It could be, right?
isn't the word mate derived from inmate?
I have no idea.
don't know, I wouldn't
That's
be
your
surprised.
thing. I thought you knew that.
That definitely
Yeah.
makes sense.
Yeah, yeah.
Inmate, mate. Oh yeah, mate.
But it's also an English thing. Like,
Yeah,
they
yeah.
call each other mates.
Yeah, but it was also a slang term used by people in the lower class, probably mostly convicts or prisoners.
Most
who you
likely,
could call
yeah.
each other mates.
Yeah, you wouldn't see like like a regal Englishman
Yeah,
calling each other mates.
yeah. So I think that might be true. I don't know for sure.
All right, we'll have to look that up and get back to you on the next episode of PeePcast.
Yeah.
Interesting fact.
It'll just be called Inmates. That's the title.
No, it'll be called PeePcast episode 7.
Alright. Way to cut my ideas down.
That's all I do, man. I'm a destroyer of ideas.
Yeah.
I'm the Thanos of creativity.
Yeah.
Balance in every way.
I have to be the Thanos of my own Instagram, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Because if I released every video I made, I'd be getting a lot more hatred.
Like what's the worst one? Like what's one that you've done that you've been like, oh no, this is definitely like the worst one of those.
I usually think they're totally fine until, like, for example, it was just the other day I was at like my best friend's place and he pulls one up and it's me on the toilet singing about how when a man takes a poo he's at his sexiest.
Yeah.
And like what I did it and I was like, that's fine, like it's not bad, like I did it.
Yeah.
It's kind of funny just because I'm filming myself on the toilet.
yeah.
And he's sitting there on the couch and like there's a bunch of us over around at his place and he just like turns it around and shows everyone with like a blank face as if to say like, this is not funny
Yeah,
at all.
look at this dude. That kind of
And
thing.
I was just in there like embarrassed, like,
That's a
okay, no one's laughing.
That's a difficult position to be in. I wouldn't appreciate that if someone did
That's
that.
like the stand-up comedy like bombing thing.
I think
Yeah.
it's like, yeah, well, it's, I imagine it's a similar feeling. I think he does it because he cares so much about
yeah,
me.
because
Like,
he wants you
me
to create
see.
more better content.
Yeah, he wants to be like, hey man, literally no one's laughing right now. I know you probably think this is funny, and it's good to have that.
But
Yeah.
like in your social group, like do you make people laugh regularly?
I would say particularly recently, there's been more a trend of like me trying pretty hard to get people to laugh
Yeah.
and hitting maybe 1 out of 10 times.
Well, it's like it starts like that, right?
Yeah, but I guess I haven't been socializing enough. But at least in the past few weeks where I've been socializing quite a bit, that it's almost like people have been like, dude, like almost like they have to turn to
But
me and say, dude, you're not funny.
I remember the AFTT days, and you were the jokes. You're like the jokester. You're the guy who's
Yeah.
always pulling the puns. You're the trickster.
I have the same spirit, the same.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
I go for the joke, but I
You
just
feel like a jovial spirit.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
just think a lot of people don't connect with how, like, my comedy kind of has to be up its own ass to an extent
Yeah.
for me to even be willing to put it out there. Like, it's
Yeah.
not well thought out. It's not.
It's
really,
very low concept.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
And so it just, I think for a lot of people, it just comes across as egotistic.
Yeah, I
Right.
think if you tried like adapting that brand of comedy to something that's high concept, you could. I think that could end up doing pretty well.
Yeah.
Like if like you actually had a point to make,
Yeah.
or even shrouded in all that absurdity, you know. Like
That's the thing. Like people don't like things that are pointless, right?
yeah,
Like
Yeah.
everyone's striving for meaning in the world and all that kind of stuff. So
It's
like
true, yeah. So my Instagram is probably the worst thing to exist.
it's
on
like
the face of
it's
the
like
planet.
it's like the void.
I mean,
Yeah.
I find it funny. I find a lot of it funny. I think I find it funny merely because of the fact that there's a guy doing and saying all of these things, and
Well,
it
that's-
exists.
That's how I feel about it. It's like, isn't it ridiculous?
So maybe you should point to your own ridiculousness a bit more then.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Like if you're, it's like you have to be a bit more self-aware of it, I guess.
Yeah.
And like that's the thing, like the one where you were like, the video where you were like, I am not funny, and you had this straight face on. I laughed at that. That was
Yeah.
that was pretty funny. Yeah.
Thank you.
I haven't watched a lot of your videos, but like
Yeah.
I watched that one. But yeah, you have to be very aware of what you are and what you're trying to do, more or less, right?
Yeah.
Like, and that's the thing with doing stand up as well. Like so much of what stand up is you have to win your audience over first, right?
Yeah.
If you come out of there and
I think that's my biggest issue. I don't win the audience over. I
Yeah.
just shit out these jokes.
well, you have to
Yeah.
you have to make people like you first. right? Somehow.
And people don't like me. I'm just gonna put that out there.
Yeah.
You guys do, I think.
Why do you think people don't like you?
I mean, I don't think I'm as egotistical as I was when we were at film school.
Yeah.
But I just think people, because I'm quite naturally confident. And I
Yeah.
think when most people like wouldn't want to hold eye contact for that long and just kind of feel awkward.
Yeah.
And that's kind of part of my comedy. It's like, oh, isn't it like crazy? I'm willing to make such a
Yeah.
fool of myself.
Right,
I think that makes other people sort of go, ooh.
Yeah,
Like,
I think it might be that. I think also it might be. You could kind of say you could kind of just boil that down to people just find you annoying.
yeah.
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 Which
I think I mean, there's more to it than that. I think
Yeah.
I think in comedy you have to overstep a boundary, but I think I'm overstepping like a specific boundary that's kind of like a socially anxious.
you're taking people
boundary
out
for
of their
people.
comfort zone.
100%, yeah.
It's cringe comedy. I
Yeah.
think that's mainly what it is.
That's my favorite kind of comedy.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, like you watched The Office, right?
Yeah, I love The Office.
Yeah. So like, it's like kind of the Michael Scott thing, right? Where you're, you know, like Michael Scott is always trying to be funny and he's clearly not, and
Yeah.
that's the comedy of
The
it.
joke is that he's not funny.
Yeah, but why he works in that show is because he has the other people to react to him.
And he's
Yeah.
very lovable.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
true.
I love Michael Scott, and he's definitely the character I identify with in The Office. So it's very
Yeah.
poignant that
Right.
you like.
Yeah,
I've only
yeah.
seen the UK Office, and he's not lovable at all.
Okay.
Yeah,
well, yeah.
they made-
Americans
but-
are different. They
yeah.
have to make their characters lovable.
But
or
I think all the
redeemable.
same, though, as far as the reactions of the cast around.
Because like what's funny about Michael Scott isn't his actual jokes; it's the people's reactions to his jokes.
Totally,
Right?
yeah.
So
And it's kind of almost more like that when I'm in a social setting. Like, I'm willing to make the worst joke, see someone be like, and then just, I will laugh at that endlessly.
well, the what you're doing there is you're trying to entertain yourself,
Yeah.
right?
Or sometimes it just turns out that way.
I do that too sometimes as well. Like I'll be like I'm entertaining myself. Right?
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
kind of like the
Like-
idea of if I find it funny, someone will eventually find it funny.
I mean, you definitely have to find your own stuff at least
Yeah.
funny at the time.
yeah,
But yeah, like you have to be trying to entertain them. Do you know what I mean? As opposed to entertaining yourself. Like
yeah. Well, that's why you
Yeah.
got to know your audience first before
because then
you.
it just
Yeah,
comes
that's a
off
good
as
point.
self-indulgent.
Yeah,
Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
absolutely guilty
Yeah.
of that.
Totally.
yeah. Because I think you've already you ran the trial already at your friend's party of what
Yeah,
they
yeah.
find funny and what they don't. So maybe you should try and succeed in trying to make them laugh, using their style of humor, what they find funny.
Yeah, I mean, my issue has probably been that I'm too self-confident and like thinking that, oh yeah, I am funny to me. Like that's all that matters. I actually kind of need to be a bit more humble and go, hey, it actually matters if you
Yeah.
know, the other people are enjoying this.
Totally.
Exactly, because
Yeah.
that's why you're making art in the first place. Is
For an audience.
it's a form of self-expression and you're trying to explore yourself, right?
Yeah.
But at the same time, when you actually put it out there, it's for other people to enjoy.
Yeah.
So I think it works in both ways. It's a balance between
Yeah.
self-indulgence, but also trying to make people laugh and be entertained.
It's an interaction,
Yeah,
right?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's the call and response.
yeah.
Especially more these days with social media, YouTube.
Totally.
Yeah.
But have you ever tried writing jokes?
Yeah, I've tried it. Yeah.
Yeah?
Well, generally what happens is I'll be in a conversation and like me and someone like my friend James or Finley and we'll just have this great joke and then I write it down. I don't usually sit down just and write a joke on my own.
I think what you're really good at is editing,
Okay,
like
thank you.
visual comedy. Because with some of your stuff on your YouTube channel,
Like the vlogs?
like the vlogs, are really well edited.
Thank you.
Like
I would, like some of the funniest stuff you put out is the YouTube vlogs for sure.
especially the one
Yeah.
in AFTT,
Yeah.
where
was funny.
where it would go to black and white, and then you would have the voice that sounds like this.
See, I like that. Yeah,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
do like the
Because
news presenter voice.
you're poking fun. You're not really poking fun at yourself. You're poking fun at the cast around you. You're poking,
Okay.
but the voice, the nasally voice, also is sort of a wimpy kind of like lame thing. That's sort of
Yeah.
an attack on yourself in a way.
Yeah, totally. It's
Yeah.
definitely laughing at myself when I do stupid stuff on camera
Yeah,
and
yeah.
comment on
Totally,
it. Yeah.
totally.
Did you guys see the one where I pick up the fossil my
And
friend,
like-
he thought it was a dog poo. But
Yeah,
it's
when
a
you're walking
fossil.
through the park, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What did you think of that?
I didn't.
I can't remember it actually.
Honestly,
to be honest.
Yeah, and you're with your friend, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I remember vaguely. I think part of my opinion on that is that it's not very memorable.
Oh, okay.
A lot of the comedy.
I thought it
in
was pretty profound to pick up this fossil that.
Was it actually like what do you mean? How was it a fossil?
Oh, it was a fossil. It was a remnant of an ancient civilization.
Oh right, yeah. See, like the thing is too, you have to take those ideas somewhere as well, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Like if you're gonna, like if you're gonna play the game, like this is we're gonna just pretend this is a fossil, and I'm not.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, I'm not exactly. See, you're not yielding that. It is a fossil, right?
Yeah.
But why is it a fossil, and why does it matter to you that it's a fossil?
Oh, it matters to me because I will discover something
no,
about my
not
family's
you specifically,
heritage.
but the audience.
The audience?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it was a finding myself and finding my family show. So you either kind of have to care about my heritage or not.
Yeah. Yeah, you could link it back to that kind of thing. Of like,
But yeah, you have to.
this was me. This could have been me in 1,000 years, like something like that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that works.
This is the ancestor. This is my father.
Yeah, yeah.
My father, my real father, might take offense to being compared to
A fossil.
what people think is a dog poo.
A dog poo fossil.
But yeah, bottom line is you have to make the audience care.
Yeah.
That's true. Yeah.
And it's not just care about the joke, but care about you as a personality.
Totally.
Yeah.
See, what I think it is, I think I just have this inflated sort of opinion of myself. So I think, oh yeah, people would just care about me. Like I'm cool. I'm interesting.
You got to really make people care
Yeah.
about you, but
Well,
a lot
like,
of it is natural
yeah,
as well.
like you got, like a lot of artists are that kind of thing. They're either like incredibly self-deprecating and like kind of those like that like Van Gogh depressed artists
Yeah.
archetype.
Or they're like a Kanye West.
Or they're like the other way where they're just completely up their own ass, right?
Yeah, yeah.
But either way, you have to provide some kind of value for your audience, and you have to realize as well that like like in life, no one cares about you.
Yeah.
Right? You got to solve your own problems. You got to do your own thing.
Yeah.
You have to sort yourself out because no one else is going to do it for you.
Yeah.
Right. So you have to take that same mentality to making content, right? Because no one's going to watch it if no one cares about what's going to happen in it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. No one. The only reason people would watch me and Sam is because they care about our opinions.
Yeah.
Right. Or we say things that are relevant to them as well.
So
Yeah.
how do you get there? How do you get people to care?
I think most of it is like, it's a matter of proving yourself first. Like I think with Enter the Spaghetti, it was a weird thing where we kind of just we made it as a means of trying to gain an audience. At least
No, I think it was the main goal of it was to film a fight scene.
No, that's one of the goals. I'm not saying that that's the definite goal, but one of the goals of Enter the Spaghetti was to gain an audience. That's what we're trying to do with Enter the Spaghetti 2 as well.
Yeah.
Is to bring that audience with us on the journey.
Sure.
That's the whole thing. I think a lot of it is personality. A
Yeah.
lot of it is what, as Dan said, what you can bring to the table to an audience, and what value you have in as far as being an artist.
That's it.
It's all about value.
Totally. And the thing is too, you have to know what you are, right? Like to some and that's a massive process, and that's really what being in your early 20s, like being in your 20s is that, right? You're working out who you are, because you get you're sheltered into this institution for 18 years essentially,
Yeah.
and then you get thrown into the real world, and then you're like, okay, kid, can you swim?
Yeah.
You know,
Totally.
and like, how are you gonna swim?
Yeah.
What kind of swimmer are you? You know.
Yeah.
Totally.
So you have to figure out what kind of, like, like in your case, what kind of comedian you are, right?
Yeah.
Because you're very much trying to be a comedian, and that's a long, like, the thing is too, you have to realize that this is the process of doing it, right?
Yeah, yeah.
You're gonna be you're not gonna be funny,
Yeah.
right, for a long time.
And your views on things haven't really been shaped either. Like you're still learning things and you're still adapting, and your personality is constantly changing. As is mine,
Yeah.
Totally.
as is Dan as well.
I'm a bit older than you guys,
Yeah.
so mine's more
you're more definite.
like
Defined,
refined,
yeah.
right? But
Totally.
it's by no means finished.
Yeah.
And probably never will be, right?
Well, you've changed a lot in the year and a half that I've known you.
Totally.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
absolutely, right. So that's exactly right. but I would say recognize, like, for comedy specifically, like, recognize what kind of comedian you are. Comedian and comedian. Like what kind of personality and energy you put out as well, and then you can use those tools to your advantage, because those are tools, right? If you put out an awkward energy, right, you can use your awkwardness to be funny.
That's what Andy Kaufman does so well. Yeah,
totally. It's all about knowing yourself more than anything else.
I think definitely try that. Like, try and figure out what kind of comedian you want to be, but also look at comedians
I definitely
for inspiration.
Do that. Absolutely. I spend so much time on YouTube just watching like Louis C.K.
Study comedy.
Study comedy for sure. And then like as well, when you make a video or whatever, or write a concept, like, think about what you're actually doing. And I fucking lost my point.
And it's like what kind of value it has as a whole. As well.
And maybe how it compares to the people I like.
Like, I was gonna say, like, are you being ironic? Are you being sarcastic? What are you making fun of?
I think I like to not make my art so cerebral.
Believe it sort of like have a bit of ambiguity to it.
Totally.
I get that, right? Because actually, this kind of ties into what we were talking about with Dean, with art. With the Dean theory. Which is just craft versus artistry, right? But in every because I totally get that sentiment, because I was very much the same, right? Like, and it's part of the reason I love jazz drumming so much, right? Because you can be so much more free with it. But you can only break the rules once you know them, kind of thing, right? And it sucks because it's dry. Learning the craft to any of those things is a dry, arduous sort of analytical
and I find in most
right?
like art forms, whether it's music or drawing, it's like when I get down to the nitty gritty theory of it, it starts putting me off the art form. I start rolling
absolutely.
my eyes and going, I never want to look at a drawing.
You have to enjoy it, you have to enjoy analyzing stuff. Like, don't treat it as sort of like a homework assignment or something like that.
I get the impression that
school's done that to me.
I get the impression that when you start looking at the minutiae of it, right? I think that's the right way. Like the magic disappears. Right.
Totally.
And that's like, I have the same thing where it's like, I want the magic to be there. And like, I don't like to have things, like, I don't like to plan things out when I do, like, with like the podcast and stuff like that. I love to just go off the cuff. Right. But
and
then
clearly so do I.
But even that ability takes time to cultivate. And there's an art to that as well. Right?
Totally, like improv comedy.
Exactly. So there's always going to be the craft aspect of it. And like it does take the magic out of it once you're learning it. Like once you, as you're learning it, like as you're learning it, you're going to be like, like, shit, this is just boring now. But then once you learn the craft, you'll be able to explore it more, and that's when the magic comes back.
I think a way you could try and like learn the craft is by looking at something like Justin Roiland and his stuff in GVP, and it's funny, right? It's really funny, but like, why is it funny? What about this makes me laugh?
But then sometimes I don't want to do that because that almost ruins the joke.
It kind of ruins. It does ruin the magic, but that's kind of like the thing you have to do.
That's the sacrifice.
That's a sacrifice. That's what I have to sacrifice as a director, is by looking at every film I make through a analytical lens, so I can figure out, okay, shit, what is this film trying to say? What is this film trying to do? What is it trying to achieve? Why make this film,
See, I like finding things out anyway. Like, I love that exploration of things. Because like, it'll show you new insights about yourself.
Exactly.
Right? Like always. Once you, if you,
And the world as well, and
Absolutely.
what other perspectives are on world issues.
Exactly.
Right.
So,
I think that's the beautiful thing that art can bring to the table. And I was gonna say it'll be interesting to apply Dean theory to comedy, because I think that's so hard to define. The objectively good.
So should we cover what Dean theory was?
Yeah. So, do you want to do it?
You can do it. I'll interject.
Okay.
I don't know if I can explain it very well.
I was
Okay,
gonna throw you under the
So,
bus.
all right, I'll try my best.
Sure,
and
sure,
you can
sure, sure.
interject. So Dean theory, what I believe, and I'm gonna butcher this, and Dean obviously can explain it better. But Dean theory,
it's an already established theory.
yeah.
It's just objectivity, right?
Yeah, it's objectivity, but it's like, for instance, you're an apprentice of your craft. You start off as an apprentice of your craft, right? And no matter how good you think your product is, you could give it to a master, and he could say, "Oh, I don't know. I don't think this is all that great."
Yeah.
So you just keep learning.
He'll tell you why that's not.
Yeah,
great.
he'll tell you
Isn't
why.
The basic of the theory is that the difference between bad and good is objective, and the difference between good and great is subjective.
Yes, that's
Yeah.
more or less it. Yeah.
Yeah, my problem with the theory is that good and great are too strong of a words to apply to things. I think it's more complex as
do you
far as
mean?
subjective things. Like I don't know. I wouldn't call knockout guys objectively or subjectively good.
I
you
think
know?
maybe good should be competent. Sound.
Competent. Yeah, or at least
But yeah, okay.
at least passable.
Yeah.
Satisfactory.
Satisfactory.
Yeah,
I think satisfactory is the perfect word for that.
Right.
So-
So you would say bad and satisfactory are the two
Objective.
Objective things. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
Okay.
and good, and then it goes from good, great, and
Sure.
terrible, awful, whatever. But I think, so Dean theory is basically there are objectively good things that you can get out of something. Like you can learn how to
Like,
make
did they shoot the film? Can you hear the sound?
that exactly.
Those
Is
are all
it
objective
lit?
things.
Yeah,
Excellent.
yeah. Yeah, those
Is
are
it lit?
yeah. those are objectively substantial things, I think, or like satisfactory things. But then once you can make an objectively satisfactory thing, but it can be like totally soulless and be not interesting at all.
Yeah, like all the
knockout
lighting
guys.
is just white. Everything is just shot, so everything
Yeah.
is in the frame.
Like knockaround guys, I think that's a prime example
Right,
of
yeah,
something that I would never apply good to that film.
No.
Ever.
But I think I listened to that discussion you guys
Yeah.
had on the Family Jam with Dan and Sam
Yeah.
on Tuesday this week.
Yeah.
And to me, it just felt like, yeah, you guys should have just been saying like satisfactory instead of good. And
Yeah.
it seemed like that was the hitch between you.
As
and
far as the
Dean.
It
actual
was between him and Dean.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
Yeah.
I think I was a little too passionate about, because I was like, okay, all right, like, is he trying to tell me like how to view a film?
No,
Like,
because
all
he
that kind of
wasn't.
thing?
See, I think you're conflating it with the
I
film.
realize now, yeah.
Yeah.
But
he was applying it to like a
Everything.
general thing, and I got that.
Yeah.
From the first from the conversation.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
But like, because the thing is, because you know the craft of film specifically,
Yeah.
you have more to say on it, and you have more of a, you have more. Your opinion has more weight in
Yeah, yeah.
regards to that. Just the same way his opinion of coffee has more weight, right?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Did we have a larger point about Dean theory?
The larger point is that you can learn the craft by looking at the objectively good things.
Yeah,
about
it's
it.
Yeah,
like, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, and
There is a craft to learn in every aspect of reality, essentially.
Yeah.
Right. And then the creativity or the artistry comes with bending that craft to
Yeah.
your will,
Yeah.
to whatever you're trying to do.
Yeah, and I wanted to apply Dean theory or whatever the name of this theory is to comedy, because I think comedy, no matter what genre or style you go for, it's always personal, and you can't. And you can.
I think there's an objective level, like, is there a joke or not?
Like,
and you could look at a lot
how
of my Instagram videos and go, there's actually no joke.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's like,
Therefore, it's
how can you-
objectively
Is
bad.
that because that's the thing. That's the science of a joke is the setup and the punchline, right?
Yeah.
It's
Well,
a
that's
two-act structure.
that's a formula, right? And you can learn the formula as much as you can, but it's hard to make something funny, right?
No, yeah, but that's the thing. That's where the creativity
Yeah.
lies.
Yeah.
I mean, we have
Right.
bad jokes, but they're
Yeah.
still like, it's a joke. You've got to set up a punchline. And you often go, oh, what? That's not even really a joke. But, the joke is there, and we call it a joke. And
Yeah.
Yeah, like the way I understand. I mean, I don't understand comedy that well.
Yeah.
But I think from my understanding of it, it's like you need to lead your audience down a path where they think that this is the outcome that you're going for, but then you choose this one.
That's definitely my favorite
Right.
kind of comedy.
I
'cause
think that's every joke.
that's every joke. Well, what I don't like is when they do that and the subversion is just literally the opposite. Like that's
just a bad joke.
Yeah.
well, that's really common. I'm a huge fan of Futurama, but that's probably the most common joke structure. And I recognize those jokes when they happen, and I just go, oh, that sucks. Like Fry will just be like, oh, you shouldn't be rude to anyone. Turn around to Zoidberg and say, shut up, Zoidberg. No one likes you.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but the thing is, specific with comedy, right? It doesn't age well. A lot, like there is comedy that does age well, right?
Okay.
I mean, for me personally, fucking Pineapple Express.
Yeah,
Okay.
even something like older than that, like Doctor Strangelove still
Yeah.
holds up really well.
Yeah, or like Airplane, or
A lot of
Or
Monty Python.
Charlie Chaplin stuff still holds up
George
fantastically
Carlin.
well.
Yeah. There is an objective standard for comedy, right? But even good comedy doesn't age well.
Yeah.
Right. Good. Like,
What about Monty Python though? Because I feel like that's been so influential. We're almost still
No,
laughing at a
I-
lot
yeah.
of the same
I definitely
jokes.
think that there is comedy that does age well,
Yeah.
but most of it doesn't.
Yeah. Okay.
Right.
Yeah.
It's
Well, I guess I'm talking about the holy grail of comedy.
because
Yeah.
totally.
Yeah, well, yeah, we're talking about gold standard.
Jesus Christ.
Got him.
That was like a sneaker.
Oh, okay, I just got that.
But yeah, if you're talking about like usually what the comedy that holds up is stuff that's timeless, right?
Yeah.
Like a lot of Monty Python makes fun of religion and all those kinds of like those really big monolithic structures that have been there for thousands of years, right? So even today, everyone understands the basic narrative of Christianity, so that therefore the joke still holds, right?
Yeah.
Whereas a lot of the Trump comedy that's going
yeah.
that like
Like
remember
reference comedy.
Remember 2016? Was it? Yeah, it was 2016. He
Yeah.
was elected, right? Or
Think so.
17?
End of 16.
End of 16, right? So all the specials on Netflix after that all had bits about Donald Trump.
Yeah.
Every single one, because
Yeah.
you couldn't not talk about it, right? It was an issue of the day, and if you don't address the elephant in the room, it becomes weirder.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
But 20 years from now, people are going to look back at that and be like, "What
Well,
was the
yeah,
fuss
we don't
about?"
watch comedy about Richard Nixon, right? Like,
Exactly.
Yeah, yeah.
Exactly.
it's just kind of irrelevant.
It's
now.
very topical and transient.
Yeah, I think most comedy that was made during the Nixon era that still holds up today is comedy about universal concepts. And like the universal concepts of struggle that existed during the Richard Nixon era, like unemployment or high taxes, all those kinds of things.
Well, that's why you can reference unemployment now because it's still an issue now,
Yeah.
right? And it kind of always will be.
Yeah.
There are certain things that will be timeless, but then the manner in which you perform the joke as well is what
Yeah.
makes it timeless or not, right? Like seriously, it comes down to how much effort you put into something, right?
Yeah.
Like you know what always gets me? I mean, this isn't comedy, but like there was that stuntman from the 20s, and he has that famous video of him.
Buster Keaton.
Yeah, Buster Keaton, that's
Yeah.
the one. And it's the famous shot.
I think of
the
him
ha-
as
of
a
the-
comedian, not a stuntman. But I guess it's
I
like
think
the
he's
same
no,
thing.
both.
But there's that house
Yeah.
shot where he's like, standing on.
Yeah,
house and he
in the
goes
door
right through
frame.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
Like it's
Yeah.
brilliant, and it's like actually like it's a goddamn masterpiece, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and it gets imitated all the time.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it's because he actually did it.
Yeah.
Right. He was really there doing it, and he could have died, man.
Yeah.
Any one of those things, if you watch all of Buster Keaton's stuff, every single one of those, he's one mistake from death.
He literally threw himself under the bus with
Yeah.
his comedy, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
right.
Da-da-da-da-da.
But yeah, like you know what I mean. Like the stuff that's real and the stuff that takes effort and time and risk is what usually stands the test
Yeah,
of time.
yeah. And what I like about your stuff, right, is that you're incredibly bold. Like,
Yeah, I'll take that.
you're
That's definitely-
incredibly bold.
That is definitely a factual statement.
I think that's most of what I find funny about your stuff is that you're incredibly bold and you just don't give a fuck, right? Like you
You
just
could probably
I
take
think
what
you
you're
can't,
doing
yeah.
like to the nth degree, right? I mean, we had this conversation when you were on our radio show, right? And like we were at the pub afterwards, and you know, I think we were talking about like whether or not I would get in a what do you call them?
like an ape suit.
A morph suit.
A morph
Oh,
suit.
morph suit.
Yeah.
Ah,
Yeah,
right.
like how much would you pay to see me in a morph suit, right?
Yeah.
And most people would actually pay a lot to
But
see
didn't you
me
have
in a
to do
morph
something
suit
else?
specifically.
Didn't you, like, your dick have
Whatever
to be
it
out and
was,
you're
right?
running?
Yeah.
Like,
No, it was morph suit.
but even so, like having me in a morph suit has more
I
value.
think the nipples were cut out. There was,
Yeah,
there was
something like
more
that.
to
Yeah.
it.
But like having me in a morph suit has more value than you in a morph suit because everyone
you just
expects
know
you to
I
do
would.
it,
Yeah.
right? if I'm in it, everyone's like, oh, Dan's doing this. What the heck?
That's weird.
Right?
Yeah.
But see, you have to do that, but your version of it.
Yeah,
Do you
which
know what
would
I
be
mean?
like shitting on someone's head or something.
I mean,
Like,
we could try that.
Go straight to the anal beads.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know what's like beyond my limits. I guess I'm not
It's
really
not-
pushing my limits because obviously I'm comfortable to say anything
Right.
on Instagram.
Because well, that's the thing. Like, if you're just in front of your, if you're just taking it, if you're just having a poop, and you go, I'm having a poop. It's like,
yeah,
If you're like,
Yeah.
if you're I
pooping
don't
on
know.
someone's head.
It's like,
Yeah, right. Yeah.
or you're just like, all right, guys, status update. Here I am in the toilet. What's
'cause
new?
That gives it
Yeah.
like a context. If I'm
Yeah.
like, oh, hey guys, living the Jared life, and like
Yeah.
give it that standard Instagram context, but then
Yeah.
I just shit.
Then you do a shit that subverts the expectations.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that's bang on.
I
I
think
think
that's-
that's exactly what I need to like start with this standard sort of Instagram thing. Maybe I'm wearing like my expensive sunglasses
Yeah.
and like my button-up shirt, and I'm looking good.
Well,
And
yeah.
then diarrhea.
I always make this analogy about Justin Roiland and his comedy and how he does his comedy. The way I see Justin Roiland's comedy is like he is a child doing a a presentation, right?
Totally.
And he's got this box and he's talking about this box, and really innocent like. Then he opens up the box and it's the head of his dead mother, right?
Right.
And that's the joke.
It's like because he starts out like such an innocent, like all his characters are like,
Yeah,
oh,
yeah.
hello, oh,
Yeah. But then he immediately
it's like,
subverts
"Oh,
it to something cold, dark.
I have
Yeah.
a cancer.
Something like
yeah,
that.
Yeah, totally. Yeah.
Yeah.
So like the best example of that is if you've seen his skit with Seth Rogen.
Yeah.
Yeah,
right?
the hilarity for charity.
Yeah, the hilarity for charity one.
Yeah.
Like that, I died laughing at
A
that.
bit of context for the audience.
Yeah. So basically, it's an animation that he did where it's two brothers and they run this charity organization and they have this animation that they're going to show for Seth Rogen's thing, and it turns out that they switch the videos up and then it's them jerking off together, but everything is viscerally shown, and then one of the brothers goes up to the camera and then shits out of it, and you see it all happening.
Yeah.
And then it goes back to the two brothers announcing, and they realize what they've done.
Yeah.
So but you the setup and punchline there
Yeah,
is
because you can't
really
just have
clear.
that punchline. You kind of need the setup of.
It wouldn't
we're
work
gonna show
if
you a
it was
thing.
just them jerking off in front of the camera.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
It would be
Yeah.
asinine.
Yeah.
Right. Literally.
Yeah.
But yeah, them having this whole thing because they set up. He's like, oh, we're so excited to be doing this charity event for Seth Rogen. This is a big opportunity for us, and blah, blah, blah. We got this short that we want to show you guys, and blah blah. And then that happens, and
Yeah.
it's like that's the subversion, right?
Yeah.
Totally.
It's very clear.
So there pretty much has to be an expectation, otherwise.
There
Yeah,
has to
that's
be.
that's the setup,
right? Like, yeah, I don't know what a good example.
The
of-
Eric Andre show is a great example. Looks
Yeah.
like a late night show. You think he's just going to interview these celebrities,
That's
and
it.
then he like karate chops his desk in half.
Yeah,
and-
Yeah,
and pulls
yeah.
out a chainsaw
Yeah.
and then a guy comes out of his desk. Like it's this
Yeah,
crazy
I
crap,
think-
right? But
I think I figured out what the problem with your comedy is that you start off with the subversion without really setting up the expectation.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think that's fair.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean,
I mean, you could do it. So you've already got an established narrative, right?
yeah.
So like people know that you're gonna do these kinds of things, right?
Yeah.
So one idea might
I think that's what made the I'm not funny one funny.
exactly.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
what did make it funny for me.
Yeah.
Right, because you never play it straight, and then you played it straight.
Yeah.
Right. So like you have to be unexpected, right? And unexpected to other people.
Yeah.
And in doing that, you'll be unexpected to yourself as well, because you'll do new things, man. Like
Yeah.
everyone does these like little spontaneous different things all the time. I mean, we're creative beasts, you know. So, yeah, have a crack.
Definitely.
Yeah,
Have a crack. you
I
know?
will have a crack.
How long are we doing this for?
Do you guys feel good? Set?
I mean, I feel alright.
I think that we've hit 2 hours.
I think we've almost hit 2 hours, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm pretty.
Let's go for 4 hours, Dan.
4 hours.
Let's go for a 4-hour
I mean,
podcast.
if
Do
I had-
it. Let's
if I had-
subvert the expectation.
If I had a beer,
If I had beer or a coffee or something, I would do a 4-hour podcast.
Wow.
yeah, I'd love to do it.
So I just need to
I'd love
start
to do
providing beers and coffees, and people will stay for 4
I mean,
hours.
people will like you if you provide beer and coffee.
Yeah.
It's true.
But
That's a universal truth. It doesn't matter what year you're in.
exactly, unless they don't
Beverages.
drink beer or coffee.
Beverages. They'll drink something.
kombucha.
Water.
It'll all go in
Kombucha.
their nose. They'll have nose holes, straws.
Yeah. So should we we'll plug all of our stuff and then we'll call it?
Yeah, I guess so.
Sure.
Email thepeepcast@gmail.com with any questions, or if you want to come on the show, especially if you're an Aboriginal person, we'd love to have a chat about all of that
Yeah, that'd be really
stuff
interesting.
that's taken place. Yeah, check out the YouTube channel, PeePcast. Check out the Instagram that we've been discussing for 2 hours, PeePcast, and the Facebook page, PeePcast.
All right.
Hell yeah.
Well, Sam, do you want to?
Okay, well, you can check out our Instagram at thefamilygram. That's
The Family Gram.
yeah, Instagram.com/thefamilyagram. And you can check out our Facebook at facebook.com/thefamilyjam.
So is this actual sign language, Dan?
I
I
was doing a visual gag.
I didn't think I saw the visual gag.
You're not supposed to.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a visual gag. You're not supposed to see it. Come on.
No, you're the one, because I'm doing it.
Anyway, we don't have a YouTube yet. Our SoundCloud is soundcloud.com/familyjam. We'll be coming out with some videos soon, maybe some videos with Dean, collaboration
I've
stuff.
been working on some stuff.
Yeah, and we'll also be announcing some stuff soon about Enter the Spaghetti, maybe in the next couple of months.
All right.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Cool. Thanks for having us
Thanks
on,
for
bro.
listening to
Yeah,
the
thank you for having me.
Peepcast. You guys are more than welcome. I just want to say that you guys are responsible for this show existing.
Oh, wow.
Thanks, man.
I wouldn't have got into community radio if you guys didn't invite me on your show. So
Well,
Well,
all
if
right.
you-
It's good to be your inspiration.
yeah,
If you're going to steal, you got to steal from the worst.
the worst.
It doesn't get worse than us, baby.
And on that bombshell, thanks for listening to the Peepcast episode 6, and yeah, we'll see you next week.
All right.
Cowabunga.
Peace out.
Cowabunga.